way you want to be treated. I'm no different from you and no one else. You know I have it. There's plenty of people walking around out there that you don't know have it. You are right up in their face and treating them just as nice can be. So just give me that same respect.
The human immunodeficiency virus is the causative agent of AIDS. People tend to confuse the terminology HIV positive with having full-blown AIDS. It's sort of like if somebody were sitting next to you and had a cold and was sneezing and coughing, you probably have the virus in your body, but you wouldn't say that you have a cold.
How I was infected doesn't upset me because I really feel kind of like it was my fault. I don't feel like I know it was my fault because if I wouldn't have been promiscuous, I wouldn't be having to even deal with this disease.
I have a strong and beautiful relationship with God. And it's very painful to have to hear and live with people judging you because of a disease.
Last year, I, as a part of my effort of educating the public, spoke more than 100 times to more than 15,000 people on the topic of AIDS and HIV. Many people still don't know how this disease is and is not transmitted. Many people fear it because they don't understand the modes of transmission. The way that this virus works is very simple, and it's been known since 1986. Virus particles falling on mucous membranes, such as the linings of the nose, the mouth, the sexual organs, the digestive tract, can infect you. The immune system functions to destroy that virus, and in the process, the virus infects the CD4 T cells of the immune system, and over a period of time destroys those T cells. Since the T cells are the captain of the immune system, someone who has no T cells has no immune system. Then opportunistic infections come in and actually kill a person.
My source is more than likely to have been a transfusion because I had 6 of them before 1981. And none of my unprotected sex partners are HIV positive.
Preparing for the end of my life, I don't know how would you get prepared to do that. I don't know if anybody can prepare for the end of their life. No, they just know it won't happen. I don't know when I might go. I don't know that. So I haven't prepared. But I don't think you can prepare for death.
The virus is transmitted through 4 body fluids. It's a very fragile virus, so it's not survivable out in the environment. But it's transmitted through the blood, semen, vaginal secretions, and mother's milk. And unless you're exposed to those 4 fluids, any one of those 4 fluids, you're not going to be vulnerable to the virus.
As I travel around the country, I have the opportunity from time to time to do abstinence presentations in public high schools. And after the presentations, I'm usually taken to a place like the library to allow students to come and talk with me about what they've heard about HIV and about abstinence. I was in a school not too long ago, and a little young lady came in to see me, and I could tell right away that she was worried. She had obviously done a risk activity. She had been exchanging body fluids, and in her case, it was sexual risk activity. So I talked with her, and I said, "What are you afraid of?" And of course, she said she was afraid of dying. She said, "What am I supposed to do? When should I be tested? How often should I be tested?" And I told her that if you've done a risk activity recently, you need to be tested 3 times during the next year. And the reason for that is this. After you're exposed to the AIDS virus, it takes 2 weeks to 6 months for antibodies to develop. The test that they use to detect AIDS is an antibody test. So if you've done a risk activity, you need to get tested 3 times in the next year to determine that you are or are not infected with HIV. I guarantee you that young lady will die 1,000 deaths between the time she gives the blood and the time the test results come back. You see, people don't want to know that they're going to die, but they need to know in the age of AIDS so that they can get the medical care that they need and so that they can stop spreading this disease to other people.
I don't think the numbers are comprehensible to young people. It's much bigger than they think it is, I think. Get some education and live your life in such a manner as to not get it yourself.
there is no one to blame but myself. And so if I'm going to be angry with anyone, it will be with myself. And I'm not angry with myself because it just happened that way.
It is so preventable. It is so easy to prevent.
Yes, I think it goes back to
rather
the point where please do not use 911 at this time.
Changes to get this virus. You know, you have to have unprotected sex, and that's not one of the things you have to have. That's not something that happens in a split second. Think about it for a minute. It takes it takes some time for all of those actions to turn into unprotected sex. You have time to think.
I heard the story of a 16-year-old girl in Pennsylvania whose father was a pastor. She was a virgin. She fell in love with this wonderful hunk of manhood. He said he was a virgin. He lied. He was HIV positive. Now she is. Her first sexual experience will probably be the one that killed her. Yes, she'll live until she's 27 or 28, but she'll die because this disease gives you no second chance.
Before you use a needle for any reason, there's some thought time allowed there. You have to use it. You have to think about me. You can think about me if you want to. I've got 6 grandchildren who's going to lose their grandmother. So what if it isn't because of something I did? I still have it. Think about your future. Think about your children. Think about your loved ones. And then do yourself a favor and think about yourself, because although it's going to hurt my family very, very much when I go, I'm the one that's going to be dead.
The best way to keep yourself from becoming exposed to the virus is not to come into contact with the 4 body fluids: blood, semen, vaginal secretion, and mother's milk. This means that if we're talking about young folks, that means not becoming sexually active, though the pressure is tremendous to do so.
Families all over the world have had to open up their minds and their hearts and broaden their views and kind of examine their acceptance about homosexuality, drug abuse, promiscuity, about all kinds of things that they, before AIDS came to the world, they had to shun. And that's bad. Get away from me. I'm not involved in that. That's not me. And if you're my son, oh, you're gay. Oh. Now, what I have seen happen, families have had to realize that their love for that person in their family that has HIV is stronger than even their judgmentalness. It's stronger. Love is more important.
Some people treat people with AIDS badly, and that's because of their own fear of the disease or their lack of understanding of how the disease is transmitted. I believe that we need to educate people as to how this disease is and isn't transmitted so that their fear is lessened. People with AIDS have been given a death diagnosis. We need to treat them with compassion. We need to treat them with care. We need to treat them as people who aren't going to be around very long. And that means we need to be gentle with them. We need to help them as we can. We need to show the grace of God in our life by being compassionate to them.
People with AIDS should be treated the way that you would treat yourself. And if you put the shoe on your feet that I'm wearing, it would be you would think a whole lot different if you have anything negative to say about people with AIDS now. You get it, then you can comment on it. If you're just looking at TV and think that this is not you, this couldn't happen to me, this guy's just up talking, you better stop and think again, because this is my bedroom with cameras, lights, and here. You could be sitting right here if you don't listen. So please, if you don't ever listen to anything anyone tell you, always remember that I told you, abstain from sex until married.
It was bad. That was the life of a gangster. That's what you do. You go to jail, you're down to go to jail. I like going to jail. Every single day, you gotta watch your back. We're in bad neighborhoods over there, you know. And it's a whole bunch of gangsters all over on the east side. That's where we'll, you know, you kick back. You go into somebody else's neighborhood, it's hardly likely you'll come out of it unless you're going there for a reason, for a drive-by or something. That's the only time. You gotta look over your back, you know, you never know when somebody's gonna come invading the neighborhood, you know, come in there and perpetrating, and you know, you always gotta stay strapped. Have your gats, guns, whatever you wanna call them. Another time I did some shootings, you know, I was just kind of watching my back. I was making sure I was all right. It's either me or them.
Killing people, you know, it ain't right, you know, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I was never really a big person that wanted to shoot people. I mean, I've been in drive-bys. I've been in cars that done drive-bys, but I haven't done that many drive-bys by myself, or with me shooting. I don't know. Some people they kill. You know, some people they take a gun to you, and wherever they shoot you, if you live, you live. You know, they'll shoot you in your chest or your head purposely.
It was bad. That was the life of a gangster. That's what you do. You go to jail, you're down to go to jail. I like going to jail. Violence is good. It made me harder. The more you take, the more you can give, the more you can handle again.
You know, I've been in jail since, I don't know, good 4 or 5 years, off and on. And I've been getting in trouble all my life. People just do what they want to do. And violence, everyone does something once in a while, you know. Someone's gonna kill somebody or whatever. Take what they want to take if they can't pay for it themselves, you know.
I cannot picture myself being happy. I've never really been happy. I've been getting in trouble since I was little, whether it was school, family, whatever. Just always had a lot of hate from my dad. I guess my dad kind of passed it on to me. And I don't know, didn't care about nobody, really. I was selfish.
I had nothing better to do, you know. I had problems at home, I had problems at school. My life was hell, so I thought, you know, I might make my life more hell than it was. So, you know, you do all this getting in trouble and, you know, enjoying the violence because you want to be respected by your own group of, you know, it's kind of like getting respected by your family. You know, you do good, you respect your mom, you know, like that. But here, you do violence to respect.
To show them that, you know, that you're down to do whatever, you know, you need to do for your hood. You know, you have to prove them and literally show them, like, shooting drive-bys, whatever, jacking people, you know, whatever, you know. It's like he said, man, it's just respect.
A lot of people get in a gang for backup, for help against violence, and I don't agree with that. You know, where we come from, we're in the neighborhood, that's where we're at. You know, we're defending our own. We all keep together, you know. I mean, we're whatever. There's gangs in different types, you know. I mean, like a dog crowd, that's a gang, you know. I mean, it's just that we choose the violent way to you know, our lives are in jeopardy every single day. Every time we leave the doors of our house, we have to carry around something. On the streets, it's scary out there, you know. I admit, a lot of people don't, but I admit that it's scary out there, you know. It's a crazy world.
Well, for me, it was an adrenaline rush. You know, I steal cars, I take cars and get chased by the police. You know, back and forth all over the place. If I need a ride or whatever, and I'm stranded or something, I'm gonna take a car. I had a different car every day, you know. I stole everything from little Volkswagen Bugs to Porsches. If you're young and you have a criminal record, and no one will hire you because you have a criminal record, you have to make money somehow.
It's not like what you hear on media, how all we do is just kill each other off. It's not like that. Most of the time, we're defending ourselves. Most of the time. Not all the time, but most of the time. It's you or them.
And usually, we just go down the street with the lights off, and you know how people, like, blink the lights on and tell you the lights off? Well, when that happens, you're supposed to follow that car until they stop, and you're supposed to get out, and you're supposed to beat the out of them and take the money and, you know, take the car and everything. And you're supposed to do a hit and run with the car and leave, and just keep on doing that over and over.
It's the only life I know when I'm out there. It's the only way I know. It's just now I'm starting to discover new things, see what new things are like. I don't know what I'm doing now, really.
I regret it because I mean, if I looked at my life now compared to what I used to be, you know, I found myself as being someone positive, you know, someone that doesn't do all that stuff that he used to. And, you know, I know it's violence, you know, it hurts people, but, you know, then, you know, I didn't really care about things, you know. just did what I wanted to do because that was just my life.
Now it's kind of hard dealing with that. Now I did all these things in the past. I really regret it because it's a mental thing. Now you got mental battles with your head, things you wish you never did. Now I choose to take the path of God and take a different routine of life. A path that'll make me happier, a path that'll help me so I stay out of trouble, and help me with my, my family values. I never really thought much of my family, and now I'm trying to take it. That way I got to give more love, and God does that.
When a demon possesses your body, it totally takes over, and you say and do things you have no control over. And there is no way of escaping that.
In Christianity, we worship God and we pray to Jesus Christ, and we even involve angels in our theology. In Satanism, Satanists worship Satan. They call upon demons, which are fallen angels, to carry out some of their destructive deeds.
I had a father who, until I was 12 years old, was a proclaimed atheist and used to just beat me physically, and pretty severely. But at 12 years old, he decided to go to church. I don't know what started that. But he continued to beat the crap out of me and drag me to church and scream and yell and cuss at us all the way that we got to church. But he was a choir director, so when we got there, it changed. It certainly didn't do anything to my dad other than make it worse and more confusing. So that's about when I began to withdraw into myself, withdraw into other options, because I know this God was not an option for me at the time.
One thing is consistent among all Satanists and ex-Satanists that I've ever interviewed. They all come from a broken or troubled family.
I was not loved or accepted. I remember one time when I was 16,
I
my
like
dad
jail,
just
and I
literally
love
telling me
Jesus.
that. And those things cut deep.
These kind of people that are involved in occult and Satanism will often be looking for that person that needs love in their life or needs some kind of companionship or feeling like they belong, and before they know it, they're sucked into hardcore Satanism.
I began to really find myself reaching out beyond the alchemy and the tarot and the palmistry into demonology. I began studying demonology.
They're generally introduced into maybe what we could call lesser types of occult activity, witchcraft, or various types of maybe even some type of voodoo activity, and they're progressively looking for kind of a new high. And members within these groups introduce them to these new types of activity, and eventually they get into hardcore Satanism.
I invited spirits to possess my body, and I went through a ceremony that I had found in a book. And I did it by myself. I didn't have tons of people around or black robes or anything. I just had myself and my open heart and my vulnerable spirit that I laid before Satan. I began to seek out having demons live in my body. That began to become my highest goal. I was feeding that. It's kind of like when you go to church and you have worship music and the whole congregation gets up and they sing, wonderful worship songs and lift their hands to the Lord. Well, the enemy has the same thing. Satan has the same type of worship that he receives, and that worship is played out through many of the bands that are out there. And one of my choice, my worship band, was Black Sabbath. I began to seek what it began to feed me. Over and over and over, the things that you hear, you begin to They begin to process and move down into your spirit, and you begin to desire that.
They call upon demons, they call upon Satan, sometimes for personal power, other times to maybe cause some type of a destructive influence on other people. Satanists also many times rely on some other things, sometimes satanic rock music, sometimes they have coven meetings. So there's a lot of variety, yet some structure to Satanist services. These ceremonies exist and they're practiced, and Satanists, even more so than Christians, I find they believe their ritual more than Christians do, and they practice their beliefs in calling up demons more than we even rely on prayer as Christians.
Even as my parents continued to drag me to church, and I was going entirely the other way, I would go to church and go to youth group from time to time and smile and sing a solo once in a while in church and hang out with people. But the whole time the sermon was being preached, I'd sit there and curse everything that was being said, and every mention of Jesus Christ I would curse silently in my spirit.
And it's not uncommon for Satanists to actually go to Christian churches for the purpose of disrupting those in various ways and to cause various types of problems through their conjuring of demons. Even in the U.S. military, there's a manual put out to chaplains that actually spells out the satanic service ritual that a chaplain is to perform if someone says they are a Satanist and practice Satanism.
I began to just become obsessed with inviting a spirit to enter my body. When I got into the service, I began at that point very actively burning the scriptures at night, driving my roommates crazy. I began to chant. I began to literally go over the deep end. Satan was beginning to sink his claws into me. One night, I had been, again, just totally obsessed, and everywhere I was going in my heart and in my mind, asking, opening myself, making myself available to a demon. That happened. A spirit overtook my body. All I remember is that I was sucked. It was like being sucked back and bound, and this thing filled the outside of me, and I was helpless to stop it at that point. And I began to chase people like an animal on all fours and tearing at them. And after some time of that, the MPs were called, and I remember I could see all this, but I was helpless to stop it. It was like I was in this cylinder inside of me, and this thing had taken over, and I couldn't do anything. And so I ran, into the barracks, and the MPs, the military police, chased me into the barracks. And then I woke up strapped down in solitary confinement in the psychiatric ward.
As a Satanist, one of his biggest objectives is to become demon-possessed, to find those demons somewhere and become demon-possessed.
And I put a shotgun to my head, and I was just ready to paint the walls with my brains. And one small thing came through. And that was, I remember that somebody once told me, just give Jesus a chance.
To help someone that's in the occult or Satanism, particularly if they want to get out, we must remember that this is a spiritual warfare going on, and that you're dealing with a person who believes and has seen the power of Satanism and demons, more so many times than a Christian has ever seen the power of prayer or the power of angels. Usually it takes some type of professional help, a professional counselor to get someone out of Satanism. But if you want to do something in the very beginning, before they get this deep into Satanism, be there when they need love, when they need a companion, when they need someone that cares about them. As a Christian, the more we are caring and nurturing for our fellow man, whether that person's a teenager or an adult, we can stop them from actually going into occultism and Satanism.
And I put the gun down, and I just remember, I just said, Jesus, if you're really there, if you're real, I need you to be real to me. It's the love of Jesus that delivered me and changed my life. That's what I heard. I'd had enough condemnation. And Jesus made that difference.
I would love to be a parent. I think it'd be lots of fun. And then I guess sometimes it'd probably be really hard.
They have this control over me, and we've gotten into a lot of clashes over that.
Parents, I guess, in my life are really important because they help me out with everything that I do. And I know a lot of teenagers tend to just get sick and tired of parents and stuff like that. But I think they're there for a reason. I mean, God gave them to us because we can learn a lot from them, and they know a lot more about life than I sure do. I know that.
My own parents are incredible. They're the best people that I know, and they're so different in their personalities that they have made, I think, 3 really great kids. And what I mean is that we can go out in the world and we're not too scared of what's going to happen.
I had a rough childhood living with my mom. She was never there for me. I went to school in the day, she worked at nights, so I had to fend for myself, teach myself various things, and learn what I see from talking to my friends and hanging out.
My parents are they like having control. They went to religious schools, both of them, their entire schooling, except for college. And my mom, to make it worse, she came from old Mexico, so she has old world traditions. And when she was younger, she couldn't date till she was 21. And my dad didn't date till he was 18. And then it comes me. They told me 16. And I wasn't used to having people tell me what to do because they never really told me. I've always been able to do what I needed to do. And they have this control over me. And we've gotten into a lot of clashes over that.
My parents are a lot different than my friends' parents, and trying to fit in with my friends and stuff. They do a lot of different things than I do. They go to parties and stuff, and I don't go to parties. And I've been raised in a Christian home ever since I've been adopted into my family. But I think parents are one of the most important people in the world. My parents, since I'm the oldest, my parents treat me, I think, with a little bit more, they give me a little bit more responsibility than maybe I have a little brother who's 10, and they're like, well, no, Kyle can't do that because he's younger. But being the oldest, I think they treat me differently because I'm older, not in a, that I love them more or something, because I know my parents, they love us all the same.
My parents are different with my brother than they are with me, and different with my older sisters than they are with me. They treat my sisters like, oh, you've never done anything wrong, and same with my brother, and I get blamed for different stuff that my brother doesn't. They will say, oh, he's just the cutest, and then they just won't say anything to me. They'll just go off and do something else, or say something else about my brother.
And I think my parents are cool, because they let me do a lot of things, but as long as I get my chores done and just go to bed on time and do just anything, like cook dinner sometimes, and they'll let me do anything I want, so they're cool.
I really don't care because I know that other people will react different than my parents will. And
My parents, I don't care what they say about me or my brother. It just doesn't bother me. I'm so used to having them do that to my brother, and it's been happening for so long, I just don't care anymore.
My father was murdered when I was 10 years old. And so I lived with my mom. I really didn't know him that much, but it still affected me knowing that I'll never have a chance to go and know him. Well, I think fathers are important because they teach their son or daughter what the mother couldn't. I mean, because mothers, they grow up in this sort of way, and fathers grow up another sort of way. And so basically, you get both sides of the story. It can make you a better person because you have both parental figures there, and you see it everywhere else.
And as my friends' parents, I know a lot of them, their parents just let them go, let them do what they want to do. And I wish my parents would be like that at some point. But then again, I've noticed a lot of my friends that have parents that just don't care end up getting into trouble.
And I think that there are some people who are meant to be parents and some people who definitely aren't. And parents are people, so they're just like everyone else. Some are good and some are bad and some are in between and some are horrible.
My friends' parents, sometimes, I don't understand their way of life because they're not Christians, and it's hard to understand why they would let their kids do some of the things that they do.
I see how their parents treat them, and I see how I do not want to treat my kids. The same way I was treated by my mom wasn't that good at all. And the same way they're treating them. It's like they're restricted, they have no freedom. Little petty things upset them, and they don't sit down and communicate when they need to.
I like my friends' parents better because I haven't known them as long as I've known my own parents. And they're just, in my opinion, my friends' parents are nicer, unlike my parents, because I've known them so long, and and with my friends, their parents, I can tell them something. With my parents, I can't tell them the same thing. Parents are definitely important in my life and in anyone's life.
As I am a non, and welcome to this training in self-hypnosis. Hello there, and welcome to this training in self-hypnosis. I'm Marshall Silver, and in this video, I'm going to teach you how to put yourself into trance, and also how to structure self-hypnotic suggestions for maximum impact. Before we begin, I want to say thank you again for allowing me to be the person who allows you to get more in your life. More money, more love, and more power. Get ready, get set, and we begin. In this session, I'm going to do a number of things. First of all, I'm going to remove all your myths about hypnosis. I'm also going to teach you what hypnosis really is, as well as how to respond to hypnotic suggestions. I'm also going to give you my personal strategies for creating the most effective hypnotic suggestions ever created. To begin with, get comfortable and be sure that you won't be disturbed for at least the first 20 minutes of this lesson. As you're learning the techniques of hypnosis and all the suggestions, you may want to stop me from time to time and then back me up so you can gain the full impact of our lesson together. You have many resources at your command, most of which you already use in some way. During our time together, you'll learn how to relax and let your life happen on purpose. You'll also learn how to become more powerful, and power is for use. Hypnosis is an extraordinary state of mental, physical, and psychological relaxation. In this relaxed state, you're most responsive to suggestions. Hypnosis is also something absolutely anybody can use. It's not magic, and it's not against anybody's religion. It's simply a way of creating new responses for your mind and body. Most people don't realize that they're responding to self-imposed trance suggestions every day. If you vote, or if you watch television commercials, chances are self-hypnosis and hypnotic techniques have been used on you. Let me give you another example. If you're the kind of a person who has a tough time getting up in the morning, you actually have to give yourself a suggestion to make this difficult. I mean, how difficult is it to hoist yourself up, swing your legs over the side of the bed, and simply stand up? Now, the majority of us are fortunate enough that we have that physical ability to do this. To make it difficult, you've got to convince yourself mentally that getting out of bed is difficult, or you wouldn't stop yourself from doing so. You wouldn't hit that sleep alarm just 5 more times to get half an hour more sleep. When you've convinced yourself that it's hard to get up, or that it's difficult to stop smoking or lose weight, or anything else, you've done exactly what hypnosis is. What's neat is, if you can do this, you've got what it takes to make a great hypnotic subject. You've learned to non-critically accept suggestions. Hypnosis is a process of responding to what I call mind triggers. To understand it completely, you need to understand that you have 2 minds. You have a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. Your conscious mind is what we call the critical factor. It's the mind that's listening to me right now, and it's determining whether the information I'm giving to you is appropriate for you or not. Your subconscious mind, on the other hand, is just a computer. It's non-critical. It doesn't know how to make judgment. When you learn how to non-critically accept suggestions and become more powerful, you've learned the elements of self-hypnosis. When you learn to non-critically accept suggestions, you become more powerful. When you've learned the elements of hypnosis and you've learned to set aside that critical factor, you'll use hypnosis in your life and learn to create a more powerful existence. Here's a great way to learn about non-critically accepting suggestions. What I want you to do is to find yourself a piece of string or yarn between 12 and 18 inches long. Once you've done that, tie that piece of string or yarn to a weight, such as a finger ring or a set of keys or a similar object. Stop me right now while you take care of that. And when you've improvised your homemade pendulum and you're ready to continue, we'll go on. For now, just put me on pause, go find the weight and the piece of string, and we'll start again. Welcome back. Hold the end of your pendulum like this. Place one hand beneath the pendulum so it's about an inch away. Look directly at the weight on the end of the string and imagine. Visualize. In your mind's eye, see the pendulum begin to move back and forth. Visualize. Imagine the motion back and forth, back and forth. The more you visualize it, the more you use your imagination, the more the pendulum will move. Allow your mind and eyes to trace that path that you desire the pendulum to move. As you concentrate, the pendulum will indeed begin to move back and forth. In fact, the more you concentrate, the more it swings back and forth. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Stop your pendulum right now, no matter how much it's moving. What I want you to do now is to begin concentrating on moving the pendulum in a circle. Again, look directly at the pendulum and see it, visualize it, moving in a circle now. Visualize the circle spinning and turning and rotating. Concentrate. Imagine. See the circle getting larger and larger and larger. The more you concentrate, the more the pendulum will move. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Stop the pendulum now, and let's talk about what causes the pendulum to move. You should be able to produce the same results at home as I am right here in the studio by simply understanding that what causes the pendulum to move is a simple process. What you expect, you tend to realize, and what you believe is true. As long as you believe the pendulum will move, and you concentrate, you visualize the direction you want it to move, there's nothing you can do, say, or think that will stop your arm from moving. We call that psychosomatic movement. The pendulum moves psychosomatically. What psychosomatically means is psycho the mind and soma the body. Your mind will cause your arm to move just enough to produce that movement in the pendulum. Your mind always moves in the direction of its dominant thoughts. And as long as you truly believe the pendulum will move, it will. Practice this again. Practice moving the pendulum once again and get effective in attaining the same movement that I'm doing right now. When you've done that, we'll continue. For the moment, simply practice. And once again, put me on pause. I won't mind, and we'll continue. You're doing great. Set your pendulum down right now, and we'll go on with the lesson. As I work with another subject here in the studio to teach you how to respond more fully, do exactly as we do here. Hello there. Say your name.
Cher.
Hello, Cher. Welcome. Cher, and you at home, I'd like you to sit back in your chair in a comfortable position. Put your feet flat on the floor. You do the same. Put your hands down in your lap. In a moment, I'm going to begin relaxing you. As I do, there'll never be a time when you won't be able to hear the sounds in the room about you. You'll always be able to hear the sounds in the room, and any sound you hear will allow you to concentrate more fully on the sound of my voice. Breathe in deeply. And now just breathe out. Breathe in a deep relaxation, and breathe out all your anxiety. Continue breathing deeply until I tell you otherwise. In a moment, I'm going to tell you to begin concentrating on one of your hands. And as you do, you become aware of many things. You'll become aware of a peaceful sensation going through your body. As you begin concentrating on that hand will begin to feel light and relaxed. In fact, the more you concentrate, the lighter that hand will seem until it begins rising and lifting and rising further and further up. The more you concentrate, the further that hand will move, as if there were a giant bouquet of helium balloons attached to your wrist. Breathe in deeply. And now close your eyes. Close your eyelids down now. Allow them to remain closed until I tell you to open them. You'll always be able to open your eyes unless I give you a direct suggestion otherwise, and I don't intend to do so. Allow your eyelids to remain closed, as hypnosis is a state of mind, not a state of eyelids. As you allow your eyelids to now remain closed, begin concentrating on your hand. As you concentrate on one of your hands and your eyelids remain closed, you become aware of many things. You become aware of a peaceful sensation going through your body. And as you begin concentrating, you become aware of your calm and easy breathing. As you concentrate, you become aware of the feeling of your fingertips and the feeling of your leg beneath your fingertips. You become aware of the feeling of the material beneath your fingertips, and one of your fingers will now move slightly. It may be your index finger, your middle finger, or your thumb. One of your fingers will now move slightly, and that hand begins to feel light and relaxed. In fact, so light, it feels as if that hand will now begin rising and lifting and rising, relaxing itself right off of your leg, right off of your lap, right off of the chair, right into the air. The more you concentrate, the lighter your hand will seem, and you're concentrating perfectly. Rising and lifting and rising, relaxing itself right off of your lap. That's fine, further and further up with each and every easy breath you take. The more you concentrate, the lighter it seems, and you're concentrating perfectly. Again, as if there were a giant bouquet of helium balloons attached to your wrist, rising and lifting, lifting and rising further and further up. As you concentrate, your hand moves further and further right toward the ceiling. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. In a moment, I'm going to touch your wrist. In a moment, I want you at home to imagine I'm touching your wrist and let it drop back limply and loosely into your lap. The moment I touch your wrist, relax every muscle as if it were made from a handful of loose rubber bands and relax it right back down into your lap. Relax now. Imagine I'm touching your wrist and it goes further and further down. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Once you've learned this process more completely by simply practicing, you'll achieve the same results we have here in our studio. If you need more instruction on arm levitation and you need to master it more completely, just back us up and we'll go through it again. Otherwise, we'll continue with our final lesson in hypnosis. Again, before we do though, be sure you practice arm levitation. So, stop me, back me up if you need to review it again. Otherwise, practice arm levitation on your own right now. Once you've mastered that, we'll continue. The first thing you need to learn is how to completely relax. In this relaxed state of mind, body, and spirit, you're most responsive to suggestions. You go through a state similar to hypnosis twice a day, once as you awaken and once as you go to sleep. It's that point right before you sleep and right before you awaken, when you're in a state that we call theta, when your mind, body, and spirit are relaxed. Now, you can still hear what's going on around you. Your attention is simply focused in a specific direction or area. To teach you how to relax, I'm going to once again work with our lovely model, Cher. Cher, I want you to do exactly as I direct you to do, and you there at home do exactly as we do here in the studio. The first thing I want you to do is to extend your arms straight out in front of you. You do the same. Now take your thumb and put your thumb straight up, as if you were hypnotic hitchhiking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a hold of Cher's thumb, just like that. Cher, I want you to relax your arm now. Let it go limp and loose, as if it were made from a handful of loose rubber bands. In a moment, I'm going to let it go. And when it's as relaxed as it possibly can be, I want you to simply say yes. Is it relaxed? Great. As I let go of the arm, it should drop as if it were a book falling from my hand straight down. That's fine. Notice how it does drop, as if it were made from a limp, wet rag right down into her lap. I want you to do the same thing at home. If you're by yourself, just stick one arm straight out in front of you. Grab your thumb with your opposite hand, or you can grab your wrist if you need to do that. Hold the hand into the air and begin to relax it. Let it become limp and loose and make sure that it's as relaxed as it can possibly be. That's it. As it's relaxed as completely as it can be, when you let it go, I want you to simply allow it to drop down into your lap. When you do it, it should drop into your lap like this. Again, as if I were letting go of a book and dropping it straight into my lap. Repeat this again. Extend your arm straight out in front of you. Grab a hold of your wrist or your thumb and relax your arm. Learn to relax your hand completely. Let it become limp and loose. Let it drop into your lap now. When you learn to relax your arm completely, you can learn to relax the rest of your body as well. So take the time right now to learn how to relax your arm completely. If there's someone near you that's viewing this video with you, it'll be a lot of fun for the two of you to take turns relaxing your arms. When you're done, come on back. And remember that as you relax your hand, you should also relax your shoulder, your arm, and all the muscles around that body part to allow you utmost relaxation. Stop the video right now and practice relaxing your arm. It's important. And when you're feeling comfortable with that part of the lesson, start the video up again and we'll continue. Welcome back. You're doing perfectly. In our next lesson, I'm going to instruct you to take 3 deep breaths. With each breath, you're going to say these words out loud. Relaxing now. Take 1 deep breath and say the words relaxing now. Relaxing now. That's fine. Take the 2nd deep breath and you'll say again, relaxing now.
Relaxing now.
Take the 3rd deep breath and say the words relaxing now.
Relaxing now.
Now, by the third breath, if not by the fourth, you're going to simply relax your eyelids. You're going to close them down. You're going to relax your body into a more comfortable position, and you're simply going to let go. Do exactly as I say. The moment I say go, take those 3 deep breaths and simply relax your body. Breathe in deeply and go.
Relaxing now.
Breathe in again and say the words, relaxing now. With each and every easy breath you take, allow your eyelids to now close down. Let your neck now go limp and loose as if it were made from a handful of loose rubber bands. Every muscle calmly, easily, and readily relaxing. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Just sit back in your chair, Cher, sinking deeper and deeper, way down. As you relax in this fashion, the more you relax, the easier it'll get. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. On the count of 3, you'll open your eyes. 1, 2, and 3. Open your eyes, sit up in your chair, and we'll repeat this again. This time, you at home are going to do the same thing. In a moment, I'm going to say the word go. The moment I say the word go, just as Cher is doing here in our studio, you're going to take 3 deep breaths. Between each breath, you're going to say the words, relaxing now. As you say relaxing now each time, you'll simply let go. Your eyelids will close down. Your body is going to relax, and you're simply going to let go. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out. Breathe in deeply, and go. As you breathe in deeply, your eyelids now begin to close. Your eyelids close down. Your body relaxes, limp and loose, as if it were made from a handful of loose rubber bands. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Relax. Let it go. Close your eyelids down now. With each and every easy breath you take, your body relaxes and lets go. With each breath, let your body relax now. Relaxing deeply. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3. On the count of 3, you'll open your eyes, feeling fantastic in every way. On the count of 3, open your eyes, feeling fantastic in every way. 1, 2, and 3. Open your eyes now, sit up in your chair, take a long, deep breath. As you learn to relax each and every time you do, it'll become easier and easier. Again, in a moment, I'm going to say the word go. This time, you're going to repeat the process, except rather than saying the words out loud, you're going to simply think the words, relaxing now. You're going to breathe in deeply, and breathe out. You're going to think the words, relaxing now. And as you do, you're going to let your body become more limp and more loose. I'll do it one last time here with Cher in the studio. In a moment, I'm going to say the word go. The moment I do, you're going to simply say the words, relaxing now, inside of your mind. As you do, you're going to breathe deeply, you're going to let it go, and you're going to say the words, relaxing now, again. Each time you breathe in deeply and think those words, as if you were made from a handful of loose rubber bands, you'll let go. Breathe in deeply, and go. Think the words, relaxing now. As you do, your eyelids close down. Let your eyelids go. That's fine. You're doing perfectly. Relaxing now. Your body now completely relaxes and you let go. That's fine. Deeper and deeper. Way down. Allow your body to relax calmly and easily, peacefully. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 3 again. And the moment I do, you'll open your eyes. Continue relaxing deeply until I say the number 3. 1, 2, and 3. Open your eyes now, feeling aware, wide awake. You're going to repeat that process once again, except this time, again, rather than saying the words out loud, you're simply going to think them to yourself. You may find your eyelids closing down more rapidly now. That's how they should respond. You should also find yourself relaxing more completely, because each and every time you respond in a given fashion to any circumstance, it becomes increasingly easier to respond in that fashion again. This time in your own mind, you're going to count from 1 to 3 of your own accord to bring yourself back to full awareness, as if I were talking to you. It would look like you were breathing deeply, saying relaxing now, going to that relaxed state. And then you'll simply think the words 1, 2, and 3 and open your eyes. We'll let Cher do it here on screen while you do it at home. Should you need to watch her and see what it looks like, it'll look something like this. Cher, in a moment, I'm going to say the word go. When I do, I want you to simply think the words relaxing now with each breath that you take. Relaxing your body and letting go. Your body will stay relaxed for about 5 to 14 seconds, and then you're going to count mentally from 1 to 3 to bring yourself back out of that hypnotic relaxation. Get ready and go. Relaxing now. Relaxing now. That's fine. With each and every easy breath you take, just thinking those words. Relaxing now. Allow your body to go limp and loose. Relaxing now. Of your own accord, I want you in a few moments to simply think the words 1, 2, and 3. The moment you say the number 3, bring yourself back out of trance. That's fine. Once you've mastered the process of completely relaxing yourself at will, then you can use this process to put yourself into trance and can begin to program yourself with suggestions. It's important you learn each lesson in succession. So right now, take the time to practice again. Put yourself into trance by saying, relaxing now. After you put yourself into trance, count yourself back to full awareness by counting from 1 to 3. Continue doing that until you feel comfortable. Once again, put me on pause and come back once you've mastered that skill. Welcome back. I know you're doing perfectly. Thanks, Cher, for helping us out. We appreciate it. To understand how your mind works, I've created some rules of the mind. Understanding these rules will allow you to use your mind as the powerful tool it really is. Here are the rules of the mind. Rule number 1, what you expect, you tend to realize. What this means is your mind will move in the direction of its dominant thought. Those things which you think about most tend to happen. What you focus on expands. Have you ever noticed that as you were thinking about purchasing a new car, that everywhere you looked, it appeared as if everybody else was driving that vehicle? Your mind will move in the direction of its dominant thought, and what you expect, you tend to realize. Rule number 2, imagination is more powerful than knowledge. What you believe is true for you. Albert Einstein said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge, and what he meant was, if a person believes something, it's more real than reality. It's true for them. So what you must first do is to learn to act as if what you want is already true, so you can attain that in your life. Rule number 3, every thought or emotion has a psychosomatic reaction. That means worry thoughts can trigger changes in your stomach that can give you ulcers. When you're angry, it could stimulate your adrenal glands and cause your pupils to dilate or to give you goosebumps. Just the same as that when you get a hug from someone you love, it can make you feel warm on the inside. Psychosomatic means it's actually your mind causing your body temperature to increase. Psycho the mind, soma the body. Rule number 4, an idea programmed into the subconscious mind will remain until it's replaced by another idea. The longer an idea is affixed in the subconscious mind, the tougher it is for the critical or conscious mind in replacing it. This is how a habit is formed. We have mental and physical habits. To perform a physical habit, we must first form the mental habit. In other words, we must think before we can act. If we wish to change a physical habit or action, we must first change the mental habit or thought. Some people believe that cigarettes calm them down. This is a totally incorrect habit. Since nicotine is a stimulant, it couldn't possibly relax the nervous system. And yet, since most people associate smoking with pleasurable situations, such as dancing or socializing or dining, the cigarette has actually become a post-hypnotic suggestion, or what I call a mind trigger, to positive psychosomatic reactions within the body. The body actually produces enough endorphins to combat the power of the nicotine and to relax the nervous system. Rule number 5, The less the conscious effort, the more the subconscious mind will respond. There's really nothing such as pure willpower. If you've ever tried to go to sleep at night and you focused on sleeping, you realize that that was impossible. In fact, the more you focused on sleeping, the less you could sleep. The more you thought about going to sleep, the more you tossed and turned. The key in getting yourself to sleep at night is to allow yourself to focus on one thing, such as the incredible outcomes you want in your life. I promise you that you'll easily and readily drift into sleep when you focus on the positive things that you want. Rule number 6 is, each suggestion you accept allows greater acceptance of later suggestions. What that means is, small commitments lead to large commitments. That's why I've already taught you how to relax your body easily and readily. First with your arm, and then with the rest of your body. When you learn to relax in that progressive way, then you'll learn to relax even more completely and readily as you now accept these suggestions. Rule number 7, your body will produce what your mind believes. Listen to that again. Your body will produce what your mind believes. Extended emotional belief can actually cause physical changes. The more you focus on something, the more likely it is to show up in your body. That's what we call dis-ease or disease. When you focus on something, it tends to occur. I had a client in my hypnotherapy office who kept talking about his family and his job and that they were a pain in the neck. 5 years later, it was discovered that he had cancer in his neck. That's how powerful your mind really is. Rule number 8, we tend to move in the direction of our most dominant thoughts. I've said this earlier. Now, since you move in the direction of your dominant thought, your mind can only respond to the things you think about, and it responds most quickly and openly to suggestions that are similar to preceding suggestions. That which we seek, we do find. If you look for the bad in an individual or a situation, your perceptions of that quality will be heightened. When you look for the bad, that's what you'll find. And when you find the bad, it reinforces that previous thought structure and will move you further in that direction of those negative feelings about that person or that situation. Now, after you've learned to relax and you want to begin writing your own hypnotic suggestions, you need to follow a specific strategy for doing just that. You can use these to create mega impactful suggestions that will have the greatest impact upon your subconscious mind and will create within you an overwhelming desire to respond to those suggestions. Use the following formula to write your suggestions. Rule number 1 for forming a successful hypnotic suggestion is as follows. Use positive versus negative. When you're making suggestions, a positive suggestion would be, my breath smells fresh as a non-smoker. An incorrect or ineffective suggestion would be, my breath doesn't stink anymore. It's more powerful to say, I am slender and attractive. It's less empowering to say, I'm not fat. You see, it's impossible for your mind to respond to a suggestion going the opposite direction of what you want to go. In other words, it's impossible for your mind to perceive or conceive of a don't. When you program yourself to say, I don't overeat, all your mind can hear is overeat. Use a positive versus a negative. Rule number 2, use the present tense. It's more effective to say, I sleep easily at night. It's less effective to say, I'm going to sleep easily at night. You want your suggestions to be in the specific moment. You want to give a suggestion such as, I am a non-smoker, instead of saying, I'm going to become a non-smoker. You see, going to never happens. The present positive tense rules apply for effective suggestion making. Rule number 3, be simple. Treat your subconscious mind as if it were a bright child, as if it were operating on a 7-year-old level. I want you to realize that any verbose attempts at semantical effectiveness are bound to lose effect in the subconscious mind and only decrease their level of power of that suggestion. At the same time, keep in mind rule number 4, and that is, create exciting, descriptive, emotional words, such as empowering, dramatic, effective, and electrifying. These types of words create more emotional impact upon the subconscious mind. And since your subconscious mind is your feeling mind, it'll create more powerful suggestions for you to respond to. Rule number 5 is use affirmative action. Let the suggestion that you give to yourself describe an action instead of an aptitude. It's more effective to say, I speak clearly and with purpose. It's not as effective to say, I'm able to get my message across. One is an attitude, one is an aptitude. Rule number 6, focus your suggestions. Begin by choosing just one area of reprogramming. If you give yourself so many suggestions, it's impossible to focus. You'll lose all their effectiveness. When you hypnotize yourself to become a non-smoker, refrain from suggesting your golf game is better by 7 strokes, or that you're a better public speaker, or that you'll remember the names and faces of everybody you meet instantly, and you'll lose weight and become more powerful at work. What you want to do is to choose one area and describe the changes that you want to accomplish in that area. Once you reach that goal, that'll have a dramatic, positive impact on where you can go from there and the acceptance of additional suggestions as you continue on with your series. Rule number 7, use all the available details when you're writing suggestions for your programs. Research that area of development that you want to cover and allow it to include every attitude and behavior that you can find concerning that goal. As an example, to help a person who wants to become more effective as an entertainer, I'd create these types of suggestions. I'd say to them, you love to entertain. You enjoy being the center of attention. The lights trigger an energy within you and allow you to feel empowered. The more you perform, the better you get as you allow the audience's applause to empower you and make you more confident. You're totally at ease in front of the cameras or on stage. You are a better entertainer each and every easy breath you take. The next thing I want you to do is to realize that each and every time you make a goal, make it one that you can reach. So, rule number 8 is, use attainable goals. Sometimes it's not appropriate to suggest perfection. To say you always plan your day exactly in advance is a tough goal for a mother who has 5 children, and it could only lead to frustration. You are always happy and excited might be a tough suggestion to accept, because sometimes those emotions certainly wouldn't be appropriate, such as at funerals or other somber occasions. I want you to use the words that suggest perfection, such as always and exactly, in goals that you are capable of reaching. An example might be, I always sit down when I eat. I always set down my eating utensil between bites. Unattainable goals will only lead to frustration and to a desire to go back to your old habits that never served you in the first place. Rule number 9, be exact. If you want to produce the result, and it is measurable, such as a body weight or a golf score or a sales figure, use the exact amount of the weight, score, or sales figure. Your mind will go for what you direct it to go for. In fact, the best idea is to do what I call tasking yourself, or creating a greater resistance. Move a little further ahead than what you think you can really get to. That will allow your subconscious mind the ability to project you forward and to test you, to cause you to create greater results. Rule number 10, personalize it by suggesting your own personal change instead of the change of others. It's correct to say, I take full responsibility for my communication with others, both in the sending and in the receiving of ideas. It's incorrect or ineffective to say, other people listen to me and understand me. You can never control the actions or attitudes of other people. And in order for things to change, you must change. So when you program your own subconscious mind with these suggestions, suggest something of your own change rather than the change of others. Rule number 11, use a post-hypnotic suggestion. A post-hypnotic suggestion, or a mind trigger, is a word or a phrase that allows you to recall an entire suggestion instantly. What a post-hypnotic suggestion is like is the trigger on a gun that you loaded and packed with information, ideas, concepts, and emotion. And when you pull the trigger on the gun, it allows you to respond quickly to the suggestion that you've given yourself. The final rule, rule number 12, is that when you're programming for the use of a post-hypnotic suggestion, use the first person. When you're reading the program out loud before placing yourself in trance, speak in the first person, such as, I am confident. My message is interesting. I am unstoppable. And yet, when you're recording a cassette, use the second person delivery. Instead, say, you are confident. Your message is interesting. You are unstoppable. Using a cassette is actually what we call projected hypnosis, or hypnosis by another individual. Now, even though it's your own voice, you know you're putting yourself into that relaxed state. You know how your mind operates. You know that you must now use a second person by saying you easily and readily lose weight. You now know the rules for structuring successful hypnotic suggestions. Take the time to stop me right now and to write out a program that you can use to enhance your life. It should be approximately 8 to 10 minutes long when you read it out loud. After you've written your program, come on back and I'll teach you the ingredients for producing a successful self-hypnosis audio cassette. To create your own audio cassette, welcome back. I'm going to teach you now how to create your own subconscious self-hypnosis audio cassettes. To create your cassette, the best kind of cassette to use is what we call a C45. That's 22.5 minutes per side. This length allows you ample opportunity to both write your program and also to record what we call your fractional induction. Step number 2 is to write out the specific program you're working on, be it weight loss or non-smoking, or prosperity, or speaking clearly and with confidence. When you write out your program, make it about 8 to 10 minutes long. When you write on a regular piece of paper, that'll be about 3 pages. Step number 3, leave 45 seconds of blank tape at the beginning of your recording. This will allow for any leader tape, as well as give you ample opportunity to get settled in as you listen to the tape later. Rule number 4, set your recording levels. Simply do a test. Record a few sentences and play it back later, and if it's at the proper volume, continue from there. Step number 5, record the fractional induction from your script. If you don't have the script, then call Silver Enterprises at the phone number at the end of this video to get a copy for yourself. Rule number 6, continue with your personally pre-written program. That's the program that you wrote that was 8 to 10 minutes long regarding the area that you're working on right now. Rule number 7, at the end of your relaxation period, give yourself a 5-count removal of trance. That too is on the script that you got from Silver Enterprises. It sounds something like this. On number 1, you feel relaxed and comfortable. On number 2, your body has a natural energy coursing through its veins. On number 3, you feel as if your body has been washed in a crystal clear brook and you feel fantastic. On number 4, your eyes and mind are being washed in that brook and you are seeing and thinking more clearly. On number 5, open your eyes, wide awake, fully aware. Number 5. Just a couple of things to think about as you make your own self-hypnosis audio cassettes. First of all, be good to yourself and be gentle on your own voice. The first time I heard my own voice, it didn't sound like me. And the first time you hear your own voice on audio cassette, it can be a little bit shocking. Trust me, you sound great. You sound wonderful. Also, when you're doing your program, be sure that it includes certain elements. The elements that you want it to include are a goal of what and how. Be specific. It should also include a section visualizing where you want yourself to actually be. Project yourself into the future and then be there. See it first to attain it now. And finally, a reinforcement section. Listen to your tape for approximately 21 days. It takes about that long to form a new habit and to affix it in your subconscious mind. As you progress, you're going to need to re-record your cassette to keep up with those wonderful goals that you're attaining. There you have it. You've learned to create psychosomatic response in your body with a pendulum. You've also learned to relax with arm levitation. You've learned how powerful your mind truly is in directing your body. You've also learned the process of self-hypnosis, how to put yourself into trance by simply thinking the words, relaxing now. You've learned to do a 5-count and a 3-count removal of trance as well. I also gave you the rules of how your mind operates and how to structure mega-impacted hypnotic suggestions. You now know how to create your own personal self-hypnosis audio cassettes to save yourself thousands of dollars and to truly get what you want. There's a big distinction in what people do in getting what they want and people who simply get by. The biggest distinction is they take action. Now, whether you take action right now on this process is up to you. Record your cassette. Listen to it. Live your life at its fullest. You are indeed a powerful, intelligent, wonderful human being, and you're certainly worthy of all the good things this life has to give you. For more information on how you can change your life and get more of what you want in the areas of your relationships, your personal well-being, and your wealth, as well as how to learn more about selling through the art of hypnosis, call us at Silver Enterprises. Lastly, I leave you with this thought, and that is, may you live 10 years longer than I do, and I'm never going to die. Have a fantastic life, and happy hypnotics.
Hello, I'm Tom Farrar.
And I'm Lisa Liu.
Behind us is a beautiful American city that some people may call paradise. From up here, it may look like paradise, but it too has its share of violent crimes such as muggings, assaults, rapes, and even murder.
It's a fact that most people would like to believe they'd never be a victim of a violent crime. But did you know that your chances of being a victim of a violent crime are much greater than your chances of ever being involved in a minor traffic accident? You might think this only affects people in larger cities. But realistically, it affects everyone at any age and all parts of society.
Self-defense for everyone is designed for all of us who are tired of living in fear in our everyday lives, only because you have not been shown what to look for or how to avoid a potentially dangerous situation. If you think we're trying to frighten you with these statements, you're right, we are. Police department statistics show that in your lifetime, you will be a victim of a robbery or some kind of personal assault. This action-packed, informative show on self-defense is desperately needed in our society today. Some of the experts appearing on the show will be James Liu, one of the most active contributors to action-adventure films and television. James was publisher of one of the most popular martial arts magazines in the world, and choreographer and associate producer of the movie Big Trouble in Little China.
Also, Tom, there's Gerald Okamura, known as a man of many weapons. He has many film credits to his name, such as The Octagon with Chuck Norris and The Sword and the Sorcerer.
And then there is Refugio Flores, a full-contact karate champion who is also famous for his work with children. And Daryl Gooden, well known for his work with rape crisis centers and self-defense against rape, and also teaches the military.
And last but not least, there's Tom Farrar, who's been teaching self-defense to the media for years. Now, the rise in violent crime leaves every citizen a potential victim. Everyone viewing the show, even once, will learn enough through awareness to make their world a safer place. Now let's take a look at self-defense for everyone.
This program is divided into two easy-to-learn sections. Part 1 is self-defense options, and Part 2 is basics of self-defense. The first of the two sections is options of escape for different threatening situations that are likely to occur in a person's lifetime. After you see each situation, you will be given several methods of escape taught to you by one of the masters. Then we will go back to our victim and see which method they chose to escape the situation. Our second section will teach you the fundamentals of self-defense, which are Basic Methods of Falling by Master Okamura, Blocking and Punching by Master Gooden, Kicking by Master James Liu, Fundamentals of Wrist Locks and Holds by Master Farrar, Incapacitating Techniques by Master Liu, and Weapons by Master Okamura.
Now, most of us would feel safe walking in the park in the middle of the day, but just how safe are you? This young lady is preoccupied with other thoughts, so she is completely unaware of what is about to happen to her. What are her options? Let's go into the studio with the masters and find out.
As the person comes up to the victim, he grabs him. The victim breaks the arms away and he grabs the wrists. As we struggle, I kick him into the shin with my right foot, placing my right hand on his right hand, bringing my elbow over and bringing him down, causing pressure on his wrist. When he's down like this, he's vulnerable for a knee attack to the chest, which knocks him down, giving me time to run. When I run, the best advice always said is to scream fire, not help or rape, because more people will come if there's a fire because they're afraid something they own is on fire. The next part of it, I'll be doing it by myself. The person comes up, he grabs me, I break the grab away, placing my foot into his shin, grabbing his hand with my right hand, grabbing his right hand, bringing my elbow over, bringing him down. From this point, he's open for a knee to the chest, and then I would run. Next, I'll try it a little faster. He comes up, grabs my shoulders, I break the grab away, he grabs my wrist, we struggle. I kick him into the shin, grabbing his hand, bringing him down, opening him for a knee to the chest, and throwing him down, I would run.
Okay, we're going to do a technique that I get grabbed from the front with both hands. From here, I back up, strike the elbows, which causes the stress on the arms, which causes him to release. From there, slamming straight to his throat, grab from behind, step up, knee to either the chest, face, whatever is available. Come down, strike with the elbow to the back of his neck, and then escape. Okay, I'll run through that slowly and on my own so you can see what's going on. He comes up, grabs me, step back, strike his elbows, forcing his grip to loosen up, come forward, strike his throat, grab behind his neck, step up, pulling him down, smash my knee into his solar flex or his face, cause him come down with the elbow on the back of his neck, forcing him down, and for me to get out of the situation. Okay, let's try that again. Let's see how it happens. Here, strike, hit, hit, and escape.
In this position, I observe that my opponent has grabbed me with both his hands on both my wrists. What I'll do is execute a wrist release by going against his thumbs, reverse the grip, kicking to the groin with the whole shin. As he comes down, I attack the nose with the palm of my hand, executing a palm strike. Again, to demonstrate the technique in a little bit slower fashion, first, I'm grabbed by both my wrists by the opponent. I reverse the grab and grab my opponent, execute a front shin kick to the groin, and as I come forward, my momentum carries me forward, and I execute a right palm heel to the nose. I will demonstrate now for you a little bit faster. He grabs, I release, kick, groin, nose.
The technique that we were going to be working in at this point, he grabs you in a double wrist grab.
You grab the wrist, you grab the other one as you sidestep, throwing him off balance. Follow it through with an elbow strike. Continue the movement. Elbow to the back of the head. Then from this point, follow it up with a knee strike. Then back into a defensive stance away from the opponent where he might not reach you. Okay, I'll do this slowly by myself this time. As the person grabs me in a rear grab from behind, I take a step to the side, throwing him off balance, elbow to the side of the face. Continue my action, following through with an elbow to the back of the head, knee strike, then back into a stance. Now this time I'll be doing it just a little bit faster. Sarah gets a hold of me from behind, elbow, then back into a defensive stance.
Now let's see which option she has chosen to make her escape. The main lesson here is that if you are totally aware of your surroundings, you may be able to avoid a confrontation altogether.
Your fault.
It's all your fault. You're being such a jerk. No way. Not.
If it were you, how would you break your fall safely? And how would you escape once you were down on the ground? Watch and listen carefully, and the masters will answer these questions with some simple, easy-to-learn tips.
There are a few things that I like to emphasize here. He breaks his fall with the use of his arms and his hands. You want to break your fall with the palm of your hand hitting the ground, not the backside of the hand. He can injure a lot of small bones in his hand. So the application here is to break your fall, making the palm of your hands and the inside of your arms to hit at the same time. Both arms at the same time. I'm down on the ground. I use my basic technique as far as falling. Now, as I bring myself up, I can view the assailant. As I come up, all I have to do is roll into him. 1, 2, 3, and an elbow to the groin. I like to show you that in low slow motion. I'm knocked to the ground. I'm down on the ground. I make my basic fall. Now, as I bring myself up, I size up the opponent. As his foot gets in, I come around, wrap around his foot, and just lean into him, follow my momentum, elbow to the groin. I'd like to show you that a little faster. He knocks me to the ground. I'm down. As he comes in, I'm here. Elbow to the groin. And I make my way out.
I've been knocked down on the ground. Okay. And usually you think of yourself being helpless on the ground. But you take your fall, as we've shown you earlier. What I do from here is pop up, your right leg snaps out, break the nearest leg to you, hook behind, bring him down, and as you come up, grab him from behind the head, pull up, slam his face down to the ground, and disable him and escape. Okay? Okay? Let's just see it as a technique-wise. Taking your fall, springing back up, guard yourself, strike his knee, hook around with your left foot, bring your right leg hooking over, bring him down, coming up on your opponent, grabbing his head, slamming him down into the ground. Okay, getting up and escaping the situation. Okay, okay, here we are. Push down, kick, down.
After you use the technique to break your fall, which you have already heard the lecture on in this tape, you come up on the back of your hands. Sitting up like this, the attacker comes at you. He steps left, he steps right. You guide his right foot out, bringing his weight forward just before he steps down, kicking to the groin, which is right in front of you. Lay down and place your left foot straight out in front of you, kicking with your right foot to his right knee, bringing him to the ground. As he sits up, as you start to get up to come back at you, you're ready to kick him away as you begin to run.
try it once by myself. I'm thrown to the ground. I break my fall. I come up, ready for the attacker. As he steps forward, I guide his foot out, kicking him into the groin. Slide to my left foot down, kicking him into the knee. As I start to get up, he comes at me one more time, kicking him in the chest, and I run.
As you can see, she's learned to break her fall with both her arms. Now let's see how she escapes.
As you can see, this couple is enjoying each other's company. They are totally unaware that they are being watched by two thugs.
Hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? Okay. Hey, give me your wallet, man, or he's gonna cut it.
When the couple realizes what is going on, it is too late. Let the masters show you how to escape a situation like this.
Okay. First, I'll demonstrate a technique for the couple in the park while being attacked by two assailants. Okay, first I'll demonstrate what one would do if, for instance, someone was flailing away at them, a wild puncher, if you will. What could you do to defend yourself, okay? Coming in, blocking, and as you turn to block the other wild punch, you execute hit with the elbow, the forearm, and the opposite elbow you block, come back again, the same thing. It's a 1 and a 2 type movement. Very basic, very simple. I'll demonstrate for you now, just by myself and a little bit slower. You step into, from outside to inside defense, blocking the arm. As you come to do your other block, you execute elbow to the face, forearm to the face, opposite elbow to the face, and block, all in one motion. And then, again, the same motion the other way, attacking opponent in the opposite direction. Dennis? He's flailing away. Instantly, he's subdued. Secondly, I'd like to demonstrate for you a technique while being held at bay from behind with a weapon. Keeping in mind that this is a couple that are working together. And what you want to do is key on your opponent as well as on your partner. You're watching and being aware of the whole situation. And in this situation, you use your peripheral vision to do a visual check of which hand the weapon is in. From here, you'll execute by turning to the outside of the weapon in the opponent, using your whole arm to control his arm up high, coming around, breaking the knife free, kicking the knee, hitting the nose as he goes down. I'll do the technique slowly by myself. My arms are raised. I use the peripheral vision to do a check visually of the assailant. When I turn, I make sure I turn far enough out of the way, using my arm to defend and block, and then just using the pivotal point of my shoulder, swing it around, breaking the grip on the knife, execute a side kick to the knee, breaking the nose. I'll try to do it a little faster to give a realism to it. One thing I should point out, before you turn, make sure when you turn, you do not turn too shallow with the arm movement because you will only end up being stabbed. So there's a little caution in this technique. From here, you do the visual check, turns all around, hit into the nose.
Okay, this technique that I'll be demonstrating next would be for 2-on-2. It could be a husband and a wife combination, a girlfriend and a boyfriend, or 2-on-2 anyway. Now the situation is this, is where my other partner would be attacked, and the first attacker comes in and gets a hold of me in a single-handed grab. What I'm going to be doing, okay, I'm going to be checking the hand as I hit the arm, more hyperextending the elbow. I clear the hand, still checking it so it won't hit me unintentionally. Hit into the chest, hit to the side of the face, kick, taking his balance away, then back into a self-fighting stance. I'll go through that slowly by myself. As I check, again, I'm throwing him off balance, hitting under, clearing the hand, palm strike into the chest or throat, whatever's more available depending on his height. Hammer fist across into the face as I adjust my feet, kick inside the leg, then back into a defensive stance. Eric, let's try once again a little faster, okay? So he comes in, okay, boom, kick, then back into a stance right there immediately. Okay, great. Now, the other opponent, in this case, here's what would be happening with the knife attack. Eric, could you bring the knife out? Okay, here's where the opponent would be attacking you from behind, a rear choke. What we'll be doing, let's position ourselves a little more this way so the TV people can see us. Okay, now, I check the hand, elbow strike, hammer fist to the groin. As I step behind, back in, still checking him, knee strike into the face, buckling the leg, and then rejoining your partner if possible, okay? Or helping him out, whichever would be more appropriate. I'll do it slowly this time. Okay, what we'll be doing from here again, you're checking the hand because you want to control that particular weapon. Elbow strike into a suplex, hammer fist into the groin. From there, as soon as you take a step back slightly, you hit to the ribs. Then from this point, you would be buckling him down, knee strike, then getting away from the opponent. Okay, Eric, let's try it a little faster this time, okay? Okay, the opponent comes in and grabs, okay? You check the hand, elbow, hammer fist, go, and you take him down, then back into a stance, ready to continue on or help your partner out.
Two thugs come up, they hold a knife on the woman of the couple and grab the man of the couple demanding money. As they grab the man, he takes the person, as the man pulls him in, he goes with the momentum of the attacker pulling him in, grabbing right behind his head with the thumbs of both hands on the cheek, like you see on the cheek facing you. From here, with your fingers behind the head, you just guide your forehead right into his nose. From here, when he backs up, you come right up with your knee into the stomach area or groin area. If you're close in enough, to the groin. If you're not, to the stomach. Stepping back with your right foot, you pull him into a wall that's nearby or anything else, or head first into the ground. I'll try it once without an opponent. He comes up, he grabs me. As he pulls me in, I reach up, take my forehead to his nose, kneeing him and throwing him away and escaping the situation. From here, the wife, knife, seeing the other victim sees me begin to attack the other person, though he has the knife on her throat. When he does this, she takes this time for him to look away and takes advantage of this situation, pulling the knife away from his neck, from her neck, stepping, cutting the wrist. From here, this takes his attention to his wrist, turning his wrist, throwing him down, kicking to the armpit, pulling the arm and the knife right out and running away. I'll try it once by myself. The attacker looks away. I grab the knife away, cut the attacker's hand, twisting, causing pressure on the wrist. I throw him to the ground, kicking to the armpit, pulling the knife out, escaping the situation. One more time on the attacker. He comes in, he holds the knife. He looks down, takes the knife away, cut him, throw him down, kick, take the knife away, escape the situation.
Hey, man, I don't have any money. If I did, I wouldn't give it to a couple jerks like you.
This couple took a chance that their assailants were bluffing, and it worked out to their advantage. But remember, each situation is different.
In this scene, suppose that you're walking down the sidewalk, not really paying much attention to the two people blocking your path. Let's find out what options we have to turn this disadvantage into an advantage.
I have two punks trying to take what they can from me. The whole idea is distraction. The closest opponent to me, and this is an element of surprise. What I'll do is, I'll look at him, but I'll spin in his face. The other guy will approach, I'll hit backhand to him. Now, let me do this by myself, guys. Guy comes at me. The element surprise here is that when you spit in anybody's face, the normal reaction is for him to cover his face. So that's the distraction that I want. Turn, spit in his face, and give him a good shot. As the other opponent approaches you, hit, follow up with a backhand. Your momentum takes you out of the situation. Let me do that a little faster with the two guys. Again, here these guys come up and see what they can get out of me. As I turn to this guy, I feel bang, boom, and I'm out of the situation. Simple.
Okay. Now we have a situation of two people confronting you. So you're walking down and you assess the situation and try to, again, find a position that puts you at an advantage. Okay. Okay. From here, I'm a fake coming at the first opponent in front of me. From there, as he's backing up and the other fellow is coming at me, come back with an elbow to his face, okay, grabbing his arm. From there, striking with a fire forearm to his throat, knocking him into his opponent, eliminating both of them. What this does, instead of trying to fight two people, I'm trying to eliminate the advantage they have by blocking one person out of me. Okay, so what we do is, again, you fake, go towards the first guy, elbow strike to the face, grabbing the person's arm, from there, strike with your entire forearm to the throat or face, whatever area, and driving him all the way past, right into the other opponent's body, and knocking both of them down so you can escape. Okay, let's try that a little bit stronger and faster. Here, fake, elbow, pull down.
Technique number 3, what I'm gonna be doing is for two people attacking me. Now what's gonna happen, Eric, is gonna be grab me from the front and the other person grab me from behind. Now what I'm gonna be doing is as I check, I'm gonna be doing an elbow strike, a kick to the groin. I follow through with a forearm strike, continuing my actions. I hit him, palm strike to the stomach, knee strike, and then low kick into the leg. Then I'm back into a defensive stance. Okay, I'll do this by myself, and then we'll do it with the two attackers. As you block, hit, from there, knee, kick, then back into a stance. Okay, gentlemen, okay. So the threat, okay, they get a hold of me from there, keep block, boom, hit, boom, knee, boom, rear kick, then back into a defensive stance.
As they come up, one approaches me, say he asks me for a cigarette. He asks me for a cigarette and pushes me. I say I don't smoke. This one says, then how about your wallet? As he does that, before he gets tea of wallet out of his mouth, I come down, hitting to the groin. The reason I attack him before either one swings is because by this time I know what they want. They want to steal my money, and besides, they'll most likely assault me. From here, I elbow him to the chest, knocking him away from me. He sees this and throws a punch. I do a basic block, outside block, which you will also learn in this tape, blocking his arm. Pulling him in with his momentum, I grab him right over the right shoulder with my right hand. Bringing my right knee up, I kick him into the chest. From here, he's got the wind knocked out of him. I bring him in, right into his partner, and run out of the situation. Now I'll try it on my own without my opponents. Comes up to me, he pushes me. The other one asks for my wallet. As he asks for my wallet, immediately I bend down, hitting to the groin, elbow to the chest. He punches. My hands are already guarding my center line. From here, I block, grabbing him, grabbing his shoulder, knee, throwing him into his partner, and escaping the situation. These all can be done with practice. You just have to watch carefully as we explain what you're doing. Listen to our words when we say your right foot, your left foot, your right arm. Next, they try it again. They try to attack me. When he says wallet, boom, I hit him once, boom in the chest. Block his punch, knee, and back into his partner, and escape the situation.
How about your wallet?
He escaped by using one opponent as a weapon against the other.
What's your lunch money, man?
We all know that even children are prone to attacks. However, they too can learn simple but effective self-defense.
Let's go through it slowly, you guys. Okay, what they're going to be doing is for a double-handed grab. Jeffrey will do the self-defense technique first. From there, what he does, he grabs, he hits to the arms, he clears again, does a chop into the neck. Then he gets back into a self-defense technique. Let's go through it a little bit faster, Jeffrey. He gets a hold of him, then goes a little quicker. 1, 2, then clear, then fighting stance. Very good. Now, one of the things that we try to teach the students is that in the street, they can get hurt two ways. One is intentionally, and the other one would be unintentionally. And if you really think about it, those are the only two ways you can get hit in the street, whether it be by a rock, a stick, a gun, or whatever. It's still done intentionally. Now, sometimes when we do a movement unintentionally, that you might trigger a reaction from the person that might hit you as well. Now, from here, Joseph is going to be doing a technique for a side headlock. Now, as he gets a hold of him in a headlock, what he's going to do is going to take a step forward. He hits to the kidney. He pulls the hair back, and then he does a palm strike to the face. Then he gets back into a defensive stance, getting ready to continue on or run away where he might not be bothered anymore. Now, he's going to go through it slowly again. Okay, a little bit faster. Go right ahead, Jeffrey. He gets him, hits there, palm strike, then back into a defensive stance. Okay, very good, gentlemen. Okay. Stay right there, you guys. Okay, now the next thing is the aspect of using your common sense. If we can all always avoid a situation and think ahead, is very important. Even though when we train the self-defense techniques, we try to tell the students to be careful when they're doing it, and you people or young adults as watching this particular segment, try to understand that these people have been training for quite a while. So if you do practice and doing very slow, and make sure that your mom or dad are supervising what you're doing so you won't be hurting each other, either by purpose or by accident, obviously. But again, keep in mind, the most important part to remember of this segment is always use your common sense. Be aware of your environment, be aware of where you're at all times, and try to stay away from areas that might be dangerous to you. It could be dark alleys, it could be, when you see people that you don't know coming towards you, try and go the other way, or run if you have to, because that works as well. Try to understand that these students have been practicing for a while, and we wouldn't like you to practice it on your mom or dad or yourselves or your friends. This strictly should be done, very slowly and with the supervision of your parents, so you won't be hurting each other. Again, if you're going to leave something to trigger, your interest as far as in the martial arts, keep in mind the first thing that we try to teach is the most important thing, which is your common sense. If you can avoid a situation, do it, because that's the greatest defense that you can learn in any type of situation.
No.
First and foremost, children should be taught the importance of being aware of strangers. If a stranger does not leave you alone, it is your right to use whatever means necessary to defend yourself. But of course, if at all possible, avoid the confrontation. This is the smartest self-defense. Children are abducted every day. This child believes he has a safe path around the car and the stranger, but as you can see, it is not as safe as he thought. Now let's look at some ways out of this problem.
In this particular situation, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be using Jeffrey to demonstrate one of the self-defense techniques. Now, in this particular technique, what he's going to be doing is going to be where I lift him actually off the ground. Now, in this case, what I'm doing, I'm going to be getting a hold of Jeffrey. He's going to be doing it slow. He does a backhead strike. He does a kick right into my knee, and then a cloth strike right to the face, and he's getting ready to run away from me. So let's go over the situation again. Now, what I'm doing, I'm going to be surprising him. I'm going to go through it a little bit faster. So I come in and get a hold of him, hit, kicks, palm strike, then he's ready to run away from me. Okay, thank you, Jeffrey. Now, the next thing I'm going to be doing is getting Jeffrey up here. He's going to be demonstrating another technique. Now, the technique is going to be down where his feet are on the ground, so now he can use that as a form of a support. Now, what I'm going to be doing here is he's there. He's going to go through it very slowly. I come in and I attempt to choke him, either to pull him into a car or just to control him somehow. Now, from here, what he's going to do is going to check my hand He's going to kick right into my leg. From that point, he's going to wind away from me and then do a kick and then get ready to run away from me, so he won't be in any particular danger at this point. Let's go through that again a little faster, okay, Joseph? So I come in, it's like, grab him, kicks, he kicks again, then he gets ready to run away from me.
The important lesson to be learned here is children should not be afraid to fight back when they're in danger, and to yell out and draw the attention of others to the scene.
Hell, man, you got the time?
I don't have the watch.
Many seniors like this one use a cane for a crutch, but it also can be used as a very effective weapon for self-defense. Watch as our masters show you just how effective it can be.
As he comes in, you can use the cane as a weapon. Maybe you cannot kick that high, so what you do, you stomp into the foot, elbow, excuse me, you're hitting the side of the, with your cane, you grab the inside of the foot, pull it, and then from this point on, you can hit into the shin, then continue about your business. I'll go through this slowly. Okay, let's say the person's in front of me. We clear his attack, stomp, hit. You hook his feet, then boom, hit into the leg, then you continue on. Okay, I'll do it just a little bit faster with Eric. I'm right in front here. He comes in and you block, stomp, hit, hook his foot, then from this point, hit into the shin to avoid any continued aggressive tactics from him.
As he walks down the street, the attacker comes up, threatening the victim. As he threatens the victim just looks up at him slightly, raises the cane into the groin. From here, guiding his momentum straight ahead, hits him with the butt of the cane. As he does this, slightly step forward. You don't need to be quick or with a lot of weight. Just hook the cane behind the neck, stepping back with the left foot, guiding him away. He keeps on going. Once by myself, just walking down the street. As he does, he's threatened, hits to the groin, hits to the nose, hooks him, throws him to the ground, and keeps going. One more time fast. As he comes up, strike, strike, hook him down, you're on your way.
Again, we have young people picking on seniors. And here's an old man making his way, walking the broad walk, down by the beach, and he's accosted by the man, a young guy. All he has to do is raise the cane up over the guy's arm, grab, use the leverage, follow up, apply the cane to the throat, and he can be on his way. I'll slow this down for you. Again, the situation of this technique here is that we are applying pressure to joints. All I'm doing is once the assailant puts his hand on my shoulder, all I'm doing is raising the cane up over his arm, grabbing the cane, applying the pressure, follow through with it. As I knock him down, apply the pressure to the throat, still having leverage on his arm. He can put added pressure with the leverage on his arm, and the old man can make his way. Let me show you that in another situation here a little faster. Now again, he's accosted. Old man just raises his up, down, here, down, boom. And then the old man kind of walks away.
As you can see, this elderly man has used just enough force to defend himself and escape.
For business people, carrying a briefcase is a matter of necessity.
Yeah, what do you got in that briefcase there?
Now let the masters show you how a briefcase can benefit you in a self-defense situation.
What's happening here is where maybe someone's attacking you from your right side. As you're walking sideways, you notice an opponent coming in at you. What you're going to do, you're going to use your briefcase as a weapon, or as a form of defending yourself, as well as a weapon. You hit into the bicep, striking right up into the face, knee strike, then hitting into the kidney, and you continue about your business. Okay, now, I'll go through this slowly by myself. Okay, from here, you notice he's coming at you at an angle. You sidestep as you use the briefcase as a defense. From there, you're hitting directly into the bicep, then bring it up into the face, knee strike, hitting into the kidney, then getting away to safety, okay? We'll go through it a little faster. So he comes in, boom, you clear, strike, face, knee, boom, then get into the kidney, then back into a defensive stance, making sure that the person does not continue to try to attack you.
Now I'd like to demonstrate the businessman's defense. And from here, man is coming from work, whatever, he's approached by an assailant at knife point. From here, he immediately, again, steps to the outside of the assailant, hits the knee and to the spinal cord, and he's away. Slowly, by myself, it looks like this. From here, you step out, hit the knee and the spine. A little quicker. This is a dangerous technique to do while practicing with someone. It's advisable to wear equipment and to use the appropriate tools to practice with. So we have a real briefcase to be as realistic as possible. But if you were to practice this at home, it's good advice to use a bag of some type that you train with. Okay. Here's that bait.
Well, this businessman drops his briefcase. This takes the attacker's attention away. As I do this, I bring both my hands up, grabbing his knife and pulling it, if it's by my neck, straight away from me. Both my thumbs, you notice, are on his knuckles. My insides of my hands are on his palm. From here, I step back with my left foot, keeping this momentum going this way, twisting his wrist, causing pressure here, bringing him to the ground. My hands are under this way. From here, I pull the knife out, disregard, kick, and run out of the situation. My theory on weapons is that you always think of three things: identify, control, and disarm the weapon. Next technique, I'll do it by myself this time. The person comes up, he holds the knife. I drop it, bringing his attention to the suitcase, or the briefcase in this case. Okay, grabbing his wrist with both hands, thumbs on the knuckles, other hands on the palms. Stepping back, twisting, bringing him to the ground. Pulling the knife out of his hand, kicking to the ribs, and escaping the situation. I'll do it one time with my opponent. As he comes up, he holds the knife on me. I change the direction of his eyes so I can take advantage of his hand. Grabbing with my thumbs on the knuckles, bringing him down, dislocating the knife from his hand, kicking to the ribs, and escaping the situation.
Oh, you can have it. Hey.
Remember, any object can be used to your advantage.
I would like to talk to you some of the pluses and minuses of falling. But before I do that, I'd like to caution you. If you do this at home, make sure that you have mats available. We are professionals and we know what we're doing. I would like to have Dennis assist me during this exercise. Now again, I want to caution on points on the body. We want to prevent the points on the body from hitting the ground. And I'll run through it with you on some of the exercises. I would like to start with Dennis in a squatting position. As he falls, he'll protect himself with his arms. But there are a few things that I like to emphasize here. You break this fall with the use of his arms and his hands. You want to break your fall with the palm of your hand hitting the ground, not the back side of the hand. He can injure a lot of small bones in his hand. So the application here is to break your fall, making the palm of your hand and the inside of your arms to hit at the same time. Both arms at the same time. Dennis, go through that again. Now, as he does this, he'll break his fall. The other thing that he wants to emphasize here is that he'll tuck his chin to his chest. With this, keeping his chin to his chest, he'll protect the backside of his head. The emphasis again here is to protect yourself with your arms to prevent injuring vital organs. We'll go through that again, repeating the exercise again in the squatting, starting from the squatting position. He'll fall, and then he'll protect himself. Good. One more time, Dennis. Come up again in a squatting position. You'll do that. He'll fall back. He'll protect himself. Now, besides falling directly back, he might fall on his side. As he does this, he'll protect himself not only with the use of his hand and his arm, but also the side of his leg. He'll make sure that he's not hitting any points like the ankle bone. He'll also use the base of his foot to protect himself. Now, basically what we want to do when we protect ourselves falling to the side is that the arms, the hand, and the side of the leg, as well as the bottom of the foot, hits the ground at the same time. This will help him protect himself. We'll do this exercise on both sides. He'll flip over on the other side, repeating the same thing. On the other side, you'll repeat the same thing. Now, I'd like to show you an application of somebody getting thrown. Dennis? As you can see, what the student has learned now is to fall, break his fall on the side of his leg. He also applied pressure for support with his arms and his hands. He utilized the base of his foot. Again, in a practical situation, Dennis, when an opponent comes and it'll be an exercise falling on the back, he approaches me with the fall down. As you can see, he fell on his back, but he protected himself using both his arms. I had utilization of his legs. He couldn't utilize his legs, so he utilizes his arms. Another application. The thing that we want to caution you again is not to get in a squatting position. If the individual should try to restrain from falling again, the thing that we want to caution you is that sometimes it's best to complete the fall. In this type of situation, you might strain your elbow, your shoulder joint, or even your wrist. It would have been wise for him to continue his fall, break his fall with both arms. Again, walking through some of the things that we talked about is that we want to protect ourselves on the points of the body. We don't want the elbow to be hitting the ground. We don't want the wrist bone area sticking out that might hit the ground. As we continue this, the knees and the ankle bone. Now, another application or an exercise that I want to take you through is a row type of exercise. Starting off with your legs apart. So try to use his right hand reaching for his ankle. As he does this, he'll go into a roll type situation. As you can see, he has applied what he has learned. He used the bottom part of his hand, the inside of his arm, as well as the side of his leg. Finish? One more time. Again, I want to emphasize that you want to run through these type of basic exercises and be familiar with your surroundings. And again, I caution you that when you do practice these exercises, make sure that you're doing it on some well-padded equipment.
First off is the principle of the center line and defense of the center line. This is an imaginary line that runs from the tip of the head and to the bottom of the feet. And upon this line, you'll find either directly lying on the line or within inches of the line, many of the body vital points. The eyes, the nose, the fulcrum, the base of the chin, the throat, the solar plex, as well as the knees, all lie within inches or directly on this line. The second basic principle I would like to point out for you is the fact that while executing a block, you should parry. And parrying is another basic principle used in blocking. And Dennis will demonstrate the parry. First to the left, to the right, and then to the left. Parrying is a very important point in basic blocking techniques. The third basic point I would like to bring forth is the fact that from the base of the elbow to the tip of the fingertips and all the areas along that plane are the areas we use in application of blocking techniques. First, we'll demonstrate an inside to outside defense being applied against a straight right jab. Then parrying, moving out of the way, blocking, and again, inside to outside defense. With this, I'd like to, at this time, point out that a block can be used as a strike as well. And with that in mind, the same thing, punch, defend. At the same time, a strike is executed to the face. So you notice we block and hit at the same time. Very efficient movement. With that, keep in mind that position, destination, and speed are basic things that relate to blocking and very important while doing the technique. Now I'd like to demonstrate an outside to inside block against a hook punch from the left. Dennis? And with this, please note that the power as it comes upon his arm is aimed at the fleshy part of the bicep, whereby applying very, very excruciating pain to the opponent, setting him up for a simple strike to the face. Again, outside to inside defense. Punch. Here, and the setup of the strike. The next basic block I'd like to demonstrate is high defense for overhand strike. Dennis? Note that the arm is above my head 5 to 6 inches to make sure that I have defended myself adequately. Again, the high defense. With this, we'll cover the fourth and final basic block, which is a block that is used most often against kicks. Dennis will execute a front snap kick. I step out of the way, parrying and blocking with a low motion. Again, block, step out of the way. With that, that brings to conclusion the basic blocks as they apply in self-defense. One more time to recap the basic blocks. Dennis will demonstrate for you the inside to outside defense and the outside to inside defense and the high defense. Finally, the low defense. And here, I'd like to point out that when striking, think of the forearm in conjunction with the hand as you would a 2x4. Please note, a basic punch should be executed with the hand being level with the rest of the forearm, not in the manner where the fist is up and bent, whereby if you punch, you would sprain or break your wrist upward, or if you held the punch wrong in this manner, you could strain or sprain it or break it by punching incorrect with the wrist being bent down. The correct way to punch, the basic punch, is to level out. Look straight this way, and you should be able to see a straight plane. From here, when your punch happens, it has the effect of a 2x4. Another basic strike we like to use is a palm heel strike. This is excellent for women because a lot of ladies have nails and whatnot, and it's a very easy way to form your hand. And the same principle holds true for this. A type of strike like this also is similar to being hit with a 2x4. And finally, a basic strike we like to cover that applies to most basic techniques is the basic karate chop, whereby struck against the side of the face, this way, or with the left, either hand. And with that, that pretty well wraps up the basic block and striking as it applies to street defense. third basic strike we use in self-defense is a basic karate chop. Against a right jab, you cover as you apply the strike to the base of the jawbone or the side of the temple. Very effective basic technique. With that, there are two additional strikes we use in the basic scheme of self-defense. One being the hammer fist, just applied to the side of the temple or to the bridge of the nose. It can also be executed from coming from a downward, upward to downward type strike. With that, one final basic strike we like to use when you're in a tight situation. The elbow is an excellent striking technique to use. With that, we hope pretty much covers the basics that one should know about in dealing with self-defense as it pertains to striking and blocking. Thank you very much.
We're going to show you all the different possibilities that the leg can offer. The striking targets they can use in attacking an opponent, say the tip of the toe, if you're using a hard street shoe, is very effective. Or you can use the ball of your foot, the heel, also the back
Toda
of the
su
heel,
familia, las personas que han
and
estado
the
fuera,
entire shin area is very
otros han
effective,
salido a sus balcones.
and the top of the knee area. What we're going to show you now are some attacks using these specific points. Say, for instance, the first one is the tip of the toe. Say if I'm using a very hard street shoe, I can attack with a snap to the groin, okay, using the tip. Also, the same kick can be used using the ball of the foot. The side of the foot is very effective for close quarter fighting, where you can come into an opponent, stomp on his knee, slide down his shin, and slamming down on his instep. And there are usually the bones on the instep are very delicate, in which you can try to break and cause quite a bit of damage. Also, the inside of the foot can be used in the same sense of hitting the knee, and also be used for the back of the legs. Using the heel to strike, which is a very hard part of your body, you can just a very simple, a short strike, stomping down on the person's foot. Or say if you're trying to escape, the guy's coming after you, simply thrust your heel into his chest, abdomen, lower abdomen, or the groin area. Now, a very effective street fight technique is to use the entire shin area. It leaves you a very large target to be able to strike your opponent with. On this one, what we're trying to do is we hit the top thigh muscle, which will generally cramp the muscle and disable his foundation, his legs. Here, attack. Okay. Also, this same kick with the instep can be used for the groin area, which is very effective because there's so much of a target that you can use to strike. Virtually, it's very hard to miss. Last, we come to the knee. The knee, if you're in close combat with the person, can be used to strike on his top thigh muscle, or if you're able to, if you can grab the person behind the neck, come strike with a knee to the solar plex, stomach, or if you can, smash to his face.
First, we are going to go over what the wrist can and can't do. The wrist can bend this way, it can bend this way, it can bend slightly this way, slightly this way. It can be turned to a point, on either side. Okay. Now also with the wrist, you have to understand it's one of the joints in the body that has many bones in it. So it's very easily broken. Though some people do have thick wrists, there are other ways to utilize it. Say he grabs my hand. What I'm going to have to do is lock his hand to hold it here, which I turn my hand over on his wrist. This locks and puts pressure on these bones here, bringing him down with pressure. Now this doesn't seem like I'm doing anything, but it does hurt the opponent. Do it one more time. He grabs. I place my hand on his hand, circling over, bringing him down. Another way, say they grab. This is also good for a woman if someone's getting fresh. Put the hand on. See that the thumb is on the knuckles. Taking the hand, grabbing under at this point, it turns the wrist. He can turn it to a point and then he has to go with it and down. If I want to turn him the other way, same thing, my thumb is on his knuckles and I grab under the hand again at the palm, turning in a circle, putting pressure with my thumbs, bringing my other hand to the knuckles also, pushing down. He has to go down. Now this seems like he might be able to get away, but it's used as a technique to control and hold if you want to use another technique on him, like a low kick or a kick to the leg to bring him down. Another way, if he's choking me, if I want to use the wrist to get him off of a choke, and I can't because his wrist is too strong, I will utilize his thumb by bending it back and down. Or his pinky, or this finger. Okay, another one. If he grabs, say he grabs my wrist, we'll go to the wrist. Grabs the wrist. If I grab here and bring up and then down, he has to come down. Okay. Or if I come under the fingers with both my hands and turn his hand down. This is all putting pressure on the wrist. Now, we'll do a couple for a punch. If he's approaching punching, first thing, you move your target. You always think of yourself as the target. When you block to get a wrist technique, you always block first. This time I'm utilizing an inside block. I'm blocking, then I grab. If you just try and grab and you miss, you're going to get hit. So you want to block and then grab, bringing my right hand up slowly to the knuckles, turning him down. One more time. I block, then grab, bringing the other hand up, turning, and down. Now, sit down. From this position, I have my knee here. I can also lock his elbow or utilize a kick. One more time. If I want to block inside, again, I use an inside block. My hand drops down, so my thumb is over his knuckles. This hand comes up, which is also over the knuckles and under the palm, turning him this way. Again, I use it to utilize a kick anywhere I want or a chop. Now I'm going to go through just these a few times fast, showing you through practice with this tape, Self-Defense for Everyone. Everyone can utilize it and do it at this speed. That's right. Block, taking him down. Locking both my fingers on the thumb. My thumbs are on his knuckles. My hands are in the insides of his hand. One more time. Blocking, fingers down. Now you also notice, very important, I move my target to get the momentum I need. I step back, giving him somewhere to fall to. One more time, watch again. As he punches, I block, grab. Now his momentum is moving this way. I use that and continue it down. From here, I can give him a quick kick and a run and escape the situation. If I want to do it from the inside, I block. Again, my hands are here. Bring him down. I can strike. Okay. A little faster. Block, fingers over, down, strike. One last one. He grabs my wrist, comes in. I grab, lock, over, he's down, strike. This is basic hand grabs, wrist locks in Self-Defense for Everyone that everyone can do if you practice time and time again Watch the tape, go over it, think about what you're learning carefully, and practice it carefully. Thank you very much.
There are many, many weaknesses as our nerve endings that we can use to incapacitate our attackers. Let's start with the eyes. Those are very, very vulnerable for attacks. The temple. Temples are a hollow space on the skull, which when hit can cause either serious damage as far as blood vessels bursting or cause the opponent to be faint. The bridge of the nose is made of only of cartilage, which can struck, can break very easily. Also, a very vulnerable part is the area right where the nose and the upper lip meets. The throat area, this area can be used very, very easily. And we have the groin area. And then we have the knees, which are very delicate material of the cartilage. The shin area, which are exposed with nerve endings. There isn't much protection on that area at all. So there's great pain if struck in that area. Okay. What can we do with these areas? The eyes, which are all we can think of giving a jab to the eyes. It's usually not that easy. What we found to be a little bit more effective is to actually use the hand as a claw, strike the face first, claw down, find the eyes, press in, and either gouge out your opponent's eyes because he's really coming to mean harm on your body, so you really have to take care of the guy. Okay. The temple we can strike with either both hands coming in this way, breaking the bone area. The bridge of the nose, as we saw earlier, we can use a hammer fist. The upper lip and nose area we can use as the heel of the hand and actually press upward, striking very, very hard, which can possibly push the bone up to the brain area and can cause very serious damage, possibly death, which is better him than you. And we have the throat area. Throat area can be used either for striking or we can use for choking. Best actually use the two thumbs and pressing very hard, cutting off the wind, which could either cause your opponent to faint or just temporarily have this great deal of pain. The next area we have is the groin area, which we all know how vulnerable and how much that hurts. One way to strike that area is, say, with a back hammer fist, striking downward. There. Okay. Another way is also either when you're in tight, you use the knee. Okay. The next area we move down to is the knee area, where there's just soft cartilage, where it could be extensive damage because the knee is meant to move and bend forward only. Okay. So if we do strike at the knee, and we strike right on front, pushing it back, which will cause it, hopefully, to go back past the extension point and break, which will cause a great deal of pain. The other way we can have injury come to the knee is have a blow come to the either side, striking. Most likely you would want to use a kick to the side. Okay. And it works either way, from outside or the inside. Okay. The next area we have is the shin area. The shin is a real nice target because it's a nice large target for us, so it's a little easier to hit. Same way we can use a kick. Kick right onto the shin area. Either kick straight forward into it or kicking and scraping downward.
There's a very simple object. It simulates, it looks like a pen, it looks like a pencil. I have an eraser on it, I have a clip on it. It looks like a pencil. But if I should grab it in a conventional way, and if I wanted to grab, I would have to use my thumb to hold it or my small finger to hold it in place. So I come up with some basic, very basic, 3 basic techniques that I want to go through with you. Basic number 1, I cradle the object. Cradle the object in the hand. This way I can still grab. I can still punch. I can claw without losing the apparatus or the object. I can also work it, being that it's sitting in the palm of my hand, I can palm to his forehead. This will sit right in on a bony structure on the skull, causing severe pain. Basic number 2, I use it as a pincher. So in a basic movement, with the fingers, I pull it on the side. Now, if the individual should grab my wrist, I'll use the pinch action against the bony area. He releases, then I can follow with a technique, a backhand technique. Basic number 3 is a pointer. Again, with a little manipulation of the fingers, I can use it as a pointer. I can go to the eyes. I can go to the throat. I can go to a bony area like the collarbone. As well as, if I'm real lucky, I can go to the nose. It'll go in the nose, and I can push it. Again, everyday objects that you carry can become weapons. Let me go through this with you again. Basic number 1, I cradle the apparatus. I use it as a palm. I can grab. I can punch. Basic number 2, I can use it as a pincher. I can go to the throat. I can go to the wrist. Basic number 3 is a pointer. I can go to the eyes. I can go to the collarbone. And if I wanted to, I go to the bottom of the stick. I also have a mini flashlight. With the help of Eric, I'd like to show you some of the applications of some of this apparatus. I can grasp the flashlight in a manner such as this with the end exposed. Now, previously, some of the masters mentioned some of the vulnerable points that an individual can hit. One of it would be a backhand to the temple. I can hit to the collarbone. I can backhand to the throat. Now, an object like this here, once we find the fundamental usage of it, once we find the thing that we can do with it, your imaginations can carry you from there. I can also work it where if the individual should grab the wrist, I can use the protruded end against a bony area, such as his wrist, to make him hurt. In this vulnerable position, as previously described by another master, I can follow up with a knee.
Thanks to today's technology, people have many choices of tools that they can use to protect themselves. Remember, self-defense is the use of whatever justifiable force is necessary to protect yourself and escape the situation.
One of the tools that can be used is the stun gun, such as this woman has. She didn't just buy it and use it. She's been trained. As she walks to her car, she's been instructed to always be prepared. And that means having your defense tools, whatever they may be, ready. Because when you're attacked, it always happens without warning. Let's see how she handles the situation.
In our next program, you'll learn in detail how to use this device safely.
Through data compiled by rape crisis centers, we know that most women are raped by either someone they know as an acquaintance or in a date situation. Now, if you know and understand this, it'll not only make you aware, but also prepared to handle the situation. Understand that she's been asking him repeatedly to take her home, but he disregards her and takes her to a secluded place. Now he thinks he's in control of the situation. Unfortunately for him, he has less control than he believes, because she is aware and can calmly and assertively escape the situation. As he gets aggressive and physical, she reacts accordingly.
Hey, you know you want it.
I do not want anything except for to go home. It's late.
Come here,
It's time
you're
for
gonna
me.
get it,
Please. Oh,
What are you doing?
Also in the upcoming video, you'll see how not to become a victim of date rape.
Now, in future shows of self-defense for everyone, we'll show you how to teach your children code words to avoid possible child abduction, and simple but very effective exercises for everyone that will help you turn an attacker's advances against him, and how businessmen can use everyday items that they work with to defend themselves against muggers and thieves. And you'll learn everything there is to know about basic self-defense that will make you better able to cope in any situation.
We will have the latest in crime prevention tips from police departments and rape crisis centers.
So be sure to look for upcoming shows, which will help you live a much safer and healthier life.
Thanks for watching. We're sure you found Self-Defense for Everyone interesting and informative. Until next time, remember, stay safe.
And aware.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show will return.
Hey! My dad says dinosaurs lay eggs, just like chickens. It's true. I looked it up. My dad says eggs have really important stuff like protein and vitamins, and they'll help me grow really big. Even my dog likes eggs. My dad says they make his coat shiny. See, I told ya. My dad knows all sorts of neat stuff about eggs. Does yours? Why don't you ask him? Incredible edible egg.
DJ19er, all systems go. New Thunder Jets fruit snacks are taking off with Super Fruity F-16s, F-14 Tomcats, SR-71 spy planes, MiG-27s, and the super cool stealth bomber. So top secret, it's not in every pouch. All zooming way past mega scrumptious with a sonic boom of real fruit taste. New powerfully good Thunder Jets, the fruit snack that goes fast.
Looney Tunes, Looney Tunes. Porky Pig is working down on the ranch, and Bugs Bunny flies by the seat of his pants. Roadrunner 2 is racing all around town, and Daffy Duck is gonna drive you. There goes Tweety flying the coop, and here comes Sylvester chasing after him too. Looney Tunes.
Die-cast toys from Ertl.
Cobra's new recruits will have the Joes shaking in their boots like the Laser Viper. Rip 'em up! And Metalhead, a one-man anti-tank weapon. And Range Vipers, so wild even I can't control them.
Nice bunch of losers, Reptile Breath. Now check out the new Joes, like Silbo.
I open tanks like they was cans.
And Pathfinder.
Yo, Joe!
Join tomorrow for more bad news.
Somebody shut that off!
Now collect Joe and Cobra command rings, free in special packages.
Now back to the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yo, it's the Mario Brothers, and plumbing's the game. Found the secret water zone while working on the drain. Lend the princess a hand in the mushroom land. Join the action with the plumbers, you'll be hooked on the brothers. Now, Evil Koopa and his troopers are up to misbehaving. They kidnap the princess, mushroom land needs saving. Abusing and confusing, everybody discovers they can't help but be hooked on the brothers.
tratar de tener la mochila de emergencia, señores. A esta hora aún tenemos tiempo, cualquier cosa puede ocurrir. Hay que estar tranquilos. Buen fuerte, Dios nos proteja. Es Eduardo Farías. Estamos en un grupo de amigos en Montecristi. Por acá. Nos dice que acá no se sintieron nada, no hay alarma, nada aquí en el resort. Bueno, vemos en Esmeraldas, norte del país, el epicentro en el sur de Ecuador. Bueno, estamos un tanto lejos. Entonces nos comenta que en Esmeraldas el bicho no se había sentido nada, no habían sentido ningún tipo de movimiento, no se ha reportado absolutamente en Esmeraldas. Hablamos de, en este caso, de punto a punto, ¿no? Norte y sur del país. En donde, bueno, nos dice por acá César Eduardo Farías que no, en este sector no se hace sentir la vida Suárez en ese momento sentido en Perú, Colombia y Brasil. Qué susto, lo importante es que toda la familia está bien, incluyéndote. Gracias, Catherine Farfán. Qué susto terrible. La persona terrible. Tercer piso de un hotel, señores. Vamos a darle propaganda.
Step into the future at Sequoia Institute and get the kind of training that can mean a good-paying job. Hands-on training with the latest equipment. Now you can turn your mechanical know-how and interest into a job as a car dealership technician, repair shop mechanic, or auto supply salesperson. Sequoia will train you for your state license exam and help qualified students get financial aid. Classes are forming, so call Sequoia Institute now for all the facts.
Jonathan gets advice on dating.
When you are planning a date, always make sure to give the lady a couple of choices.
Yeah. Like A, she's going, and B, she ain't. What are you doing? On his date falls for Tony.
You stole Jenny.
Ya su alcalde se ha pronunciado y ha dado la orden de desplegar todo el personal de gestión de riesgos y poder evaluar así esta situación. Vamos desde Agua Santa, en una de las puertas, como se le conoce, al oriente ecuatoriano, en donde fue el epicentro. Fuerte movimiento telúrico, señores, fuerte movimiento telúrico.
Orders are pouring in at the Kool-Aid Wacky warehouse. It's wackier than ever. This year, we've got all kinds of wild new stuff, and you can taste our pre-hysterical Kool-Aid flavor. Purple-saurus Rex in the wackiest store in the world. Now, if you send in your Kool-Aid points and order any stuff from the Wacky warehouse by May 1st, you'll get an awesome mystery gift and 10 bonus points free. Kool-Aid points are on all Kool-Aid soft drink packages. Order
muy atentos a la información. Si por primera vez nos miras, síguenos en nuestra página. Dale notificaciones, por supuesto, ver primero para que siempre puedas informarte de primera mano con nosotros. Reportando eso a todos ustedes acá.
Bouncing kids can flip, tumble, or skate, pedal or dance, even pirouette. They do so many things. They're as cute as you can get.
Una actualización sobre cómo estaría la actividad de que si no afectaría en nada a la gente se
The Berry Bears present...
We're lost in the fruit snacks.
I'm Flight, the magic horse. I'll take you home.
The Berry Bear bushes.
And your folks.
Flight, you found them.
Can you stay? These fruit snacks can.
Flight, the magic horse, new inside the Berry Bears fruit snacks.
With wings.
Just like me. More Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Wait, we better taste it. It is cinnamony and sweet. Crunchy, too. That means it's Cinnamunchy Crunchy.
Do something. They're eating all the Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Smoke? Oh. You just wanted that taste of real cinnamon toast. With a crunch. It's part of this complete breakfast.
Hey, everybody goes for the Cinnamunchy Crunchy taste.
Of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Till next time, everybody, to the Mario!
No nuts about it. Chip and Dale are two of the funniest chipmunks, and they're next, right here on Channel 2.
From side to side, come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again, let's do the Mario all together now. arms from side to side. Come on, it's time to go. Do the Mario. Take one step, and then again. Let's do the Mario all together now. Come on now, just like that.
En la avenida Santa Rosa, donde vemos grandes taxis, ¿no?
All right, that is the latest, greatest, #1 mind-blowing hit.
Honey Nut Cheerios. Yeah, I'm on the air here.
Well, it's a sweet taste of honey with the crunch is kind of nutty.
Did I hear honey and nuts?
Part of this complete breakfast, Honey Nut Cheerios. It's a honey of an oat. Honey Nut Cheerios.
Hi, I'm Rosalie. I don't know how to do tune-ups, brakes, or general repair. But what I do know is how to get Sequoia graduates good jobs. Look at this. Calls from employers wanting our graduates to go to work. And the money is really good in most cases. Car dealerships, shops, stores, and more. Would you like one of these jobs after you graduate? Then better call this number now. Get your training at Sequoia, then come and see Rosalie. We'll work to get you the job for which you're qualified. I mean it.
Wild California at the California Academy of Sciences.
Join Scrooge McDuck, the world's richest Taiwan, and his fun-loving nephews on DuckTales, today at 4:30 on Channel 2.
Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers will return after these messages.
You can see the little lost and found. The ones can be so cold and alone, especially for babies who have no home. You can see the little lost and
Come live with me.
you'll dry their tears and give them a home. You can see the little lost
Poor
and
baby. I'll feed you.
feed them, love them, never leave them.
Dry their real tears and give them their bottles. Love a Lost and Found, each sold separately from Galoob.
Thingamabob, gobbledygook, what's its face? Whatchamacallit, whatever it is, whatever it was. Chocolatey chocolate. Whatchamacallit, how's it go? Wowzum-doo, chew-gooey caramel. Whatchamacallit, doohickeys, you know what I mean. Community Krispies. Chewy, chocolatey, crunchy, Dad, it's getting a ring, more than a mouthful. It's whatchamacallit, whatchamacallit.
Now you can enter the Handy Snacks Sega Genesis Sweepstakes.
Handy snacks, handy snacks.
You could win this cool t-shirt, or even a Sega Genesis video system with color TV and 30 game cartridges. Look for game cards in specially marked boxes or at P.O. Box 4028, Blair, Nebraska 68009. Thousands will play, hundreds will win, but enter today. The game ends soon.
And now back to Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers will return after these messages.
Go ahead, you can give it a swirl.
It's the only oatmeal in the whole wide world. You can squeeze out the fun. You can give it a swirl.
Make a strawberry smile, make a milk chocolate swirl. Oatmeal swirlers, you can give it a swirl.
It's fun to make.
Fun to eat. 6 great flavors.
Oatmeal swirlers, the swell and fun part of this complete breakfast.
Oatmeal swirlers, you can give it a swirl.
This is the Sequoia Institute Job Training Bulletin. This week, the Sequoia Job Placement Assistance Office received calls from employers looking for qualified graduates to work in these fields. Auto dealership technicians, repair shop mechanics, tune-up technicians, city auto truck maintenance. Call Sequoia if you're looking for the training that will help you to one of these good-paying jobs. Call now. Learn how most Sequoia students receive financial aid and get the training for their state license exam. Classes are forming, so call Sequoia now.
Hey, you're not sunk. When you power up with a complete protein-packed breakfast with low-sugar Cheerios, you're unsinkable. Follow me.
You're unsinkable with those Cheerios.
Way to go.
With those unsinkable O's. You stay on top, you're powered to go.
All right.
You're never sunk with Cheerios.
Are you sinkable?
recalcarlo a nuestros amigos transportistas, las calles están mojadas, las pistas están mojadas. Por favor, hay que tener una velocidad.
Come on out and meet the animals during Marine World Africa USA's Winterfest program. From now until mid-March, you can be up close and personal with a variety of animals. Touch them, feed them, smell them, and love them this winter at Marine World. The park is open Wednesday through Sunday. Come on out and meet the animals.
And now back to Chip and Dale's Rescue Rangers. Rescue Rangers will return after these messages.
You don't need to touch your shop.
How do you even touch size? Square, rectangle, trapezoid, tetrazoid.
Nintendo introduces Tetris.
Put a piece here, put a piece there. Use your thumbs, use your eyes. Find yourself Tetrisized.
Now you're playing with power.
Scrooge and his nephews will make you shake your tail feathers with DuckTales, next on Channel 2.
Now you can race your record breakers at home on the Record Breakers Super 8 track. All right, yeah! Test them, tune them, tweak them, race them head to head. The Super 8 track has a fair start gate.
Go! Daredevil crossover!
Whoa! Yeah! And here's Record Breakers Racing Tip number 8. Connect your track with your friend's track.
For Record Breakers Neighborhood Competition.
Yeah, get them! Record Breakers! I win!
Vamos a cortar en estos momentos.
Picture this! Our Cinnamon Toast Crunch!
But first, we better taste it. It is cinnamony and sweet. Crunchy, too. That means it's cinnamunchy crunchy.
Do something! They're eating all the Cinnamon Toast Crunch! Smile!
You just wanted that taste of real cinnamon toast. With a crunch. It's part of this complete breakfast.
Everybody goes for the Cinnamunchy Crunchy taste.
Of Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
You know, predators aren't bad, but they're in trouble because of poaching and shrinking habitats. To learn more, write Predators. National Wildlife Federation, Washington, D.C., 20036.
Fight poverty. Join the other side. Silver Spoons, today at 5 on Channel 2.
Desde la Punta Callao. Están transmitiendo en estos momentos desde la Punta Callao.
Disney's DuckTales will return after these messages.
Look, Toucan. Would have made the shot if I hadn't practiced through breakfast.
Ah, then fruit flavor should be your aim. Follow my nose.
It's a fast break.
Kellogg's Fruit Loop cereal with natural orange, lemon, and cherry flavors. And lots of vitamin C, part of this complete breakfast. Have some.
Oh, boy, it's a slam dunk.
You can capture Toucan Sam in exciting 3D. Kellogg's Fruit Loops holograms. 3 different 3D jungle adventures. You can collect them all.
Meet the Mix-em-up monsters. Watch what they do. They mix their tails and their middles, too. It's a monster mix-up at McDonald's. There's 4 Mix-em-up monsters to mix. One in every McDonald's Happy Meal.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Alphabets for you and me. You can spell wrong. You can make it roll. Take a swing in your milk. Eat it down in your bowl. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Alphabets for you and me. Post-alphabet cereal is the fun part of this good-for-you breakfast. Only alphabet is A, B, C, D,
And now, back to Disney's DuckTales. Disney's DuckTales will return after these messages.
Golden Grams presents
Oh, no. More of the Golden Boy. When a sweet swirl of honey hits a big bunch of graham crackle crunch, you're not just good.
Milk, please.
You're golden.
Uh-oh. Oh, no.
Golden Grams, the golden part of your complete breakfast.
All new Pocket Power Series 2. Power that in your pocket. Whip it out of your pocket and watch the skies for the flying saucer that really flies. Break out the speedboat, have a walk to race. There's a cool water gun you can aim in 3 ways. The hot track races streets across the floor. You duck the first, so here's some more. New Pocket Powers are headed for you. It's Pocket Power Series 2. Power that's in your pocket. Collect them all, each sold separately. New from Tyco.
When they asked me to walk with these, it was tough. Sometimes I fell down. They asked me to get right back up and try again. Today, I get to go on my own. Now all I'm asking you to do is push a button.
Welcome to the 1990 Bay Area broadcast of the Easter Seal Telethon. Your telethon hosts are Eric Green, Terry
Come
Lowry.
on, I know you can do it.
Plan to watch the telethon starting Sunday, March 4th at 8 a.m.
And now, back to Disney's DuckTales.
Disney's DuckTales will return after these messages.
Captain Crunch cereal!
Straight ahead! Something is up, and it looks like...
Doggies!
Let's take off with that tasty squishy crunch.
Captain Crunch, they pinched breakfast.
Those soggies are out of line. Good thing I'm not. What goes up must come down.
Yay!
Captain Crunch cereal is a tasty part of a complete breakfast.
Fooey, flies for the birds. Gee, Ronald, my new car turns into a robot.
Great, let's see. Wow, Grimace, did you know I can turn into a McDonald's?
Let me see.
Okay, I'm turning into a McDonald's.
Me too.
These books are totally awesome. McDonald's has Berenstain Bears stories, punch-outs, even bears to color. You get one activity book or storybook with each Happy Meal you buy. 8 new Berenstain Bears books at McDonald's.
Play-Doh Make-A-Meal presents the Cookin' Out playset, sub-shop, and rainbow packs sold separately.
I'm grilling all my favorite foods from hot dogs to steak, frying up some burgers, toasting marshmallows.
They're great.
With Play-Doh you can make a meal impossible to beat.
The Play-Doh Fun Factory and rainbow packs sold separately.
Down it goes, out it comes. That's how Play-Doh makes it fun. Fun Factory!
Makes more than before. Hearts, bars, snakes, and more. Fun Factory!
Okay, Chip, when you hear the Cookie Crisp train, give me the signal.
Cookie Crisp can't resist Cookie Crisp cereal.
Cookie Crisp, that's a well-trained dog. Now with extra chips, Cookie Crisp, here we come.
It is nothing, boys. Too bad you won't be enjoying any Cookie Crisp cereal. The delicious part of this nutritious breakfast. So good to know what the cereal tastes like this.
Si alguien tuviera más información, por favor, desde
To color. You get one activity book or storybook with each Happy Meal you buy. 8 new Berenstain Bears books at McDonald's.
Se fue la luz. Ya están saliendo las imágenes. Hay varios derrumbes. Atención en Loreto. Ojalá no haya víctimas que lamentar. Janet, Justin y Juan. Soy Juan y dice Juan.
If laughter is the best medicine, then you'll feel great with a spoonful of laughter from Silver Spoon. Next on Channel 2.
Tenemos atención y información desde la selva. Atención, Osamampa sacudió fuertísimo. No hay luz, se va y se viene. Dios bendiga a los hermanos del reino. Bien, atención, entonces confirmado ya.
Somebody said to me, you know, that they were kind of down on their luck, in needed a direction in life, needed a place to go. You know, I would say, suggest them go to Sequoia training in the automotive field.
I really enjoy coming to the school.
They teach you really well here. You know, I feel really good about it, about Sequoia.
Call Sequoia Institute now for facts on day and evening classes, financial aid for those who qualify, and job opportunities after graduation.
Hi, I'm Matt Pickled.
Hi, I'm Cinderella Watson.
We're the new Kids Town reporters.
It's every guy's dream living arrangement. Join Jack and the gang on Three's Company today at 5:30 on Channel 2.
You know, it happened right here 20 years ago. To buy the world a home and furnish it with love. I'd like to teach the world to come. Can't beat the feeling. Can't top it. Can't stop it. The feeling you get from a Coca-Cola fountain. Can't beat the feeling. Can't beat the real thing.
Chocolate wafers, chocolate cream, peanuts, and milk chocolate. Hershey's Bar None. For people with a passion for chocolate.
Trust us to treat you right. Here at Stevens Creek Toyota, that promise has made us #1 in Toyota sales in all of Northern California for 3 years running.
Prices like this: tough Toyota trucks, $66.88. 1990 Camry luxury sedans, $99.75. Economy Tercel EZs, $59.95. Corolla sedans, only $79.75.
Trust us to treat you right.
So for big savings on new Toyotas, come see us at Stevens Creek Toyota, San Jose.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and I read something that convinced me that Beech-Nut Stage's baby food is the best. Their labels. I became a Beech-Nut mother because only Beech-Nut Stages has unique quality ingredients like Chiquita bananas and Regal Imperial carrots. I wanted only the very best for our daughter, and no modified tapioca starch like you'll find in other leading brands. So give your baby Beech-Nut Stages, the right food at the right stage. Compare labels yourself. There is a difference with Beech-Nut Stages.
I've got a what? A brush. I really do.
It's inconceivable.
How could I possibly have a cavity? This is devastating.
If your little kid has a cavity, we've got news for you. Over the years, one toothpaste has helped prevent more cavities than all others combined.
Yay!
Not surprisingly, it's the toothpaste more dentists recommend. Crest.
This was a totally incredible visit. Yes! It's great!
Crest, it's hard on cavities and easy on you.
I'm out of here.
From Touchstone Pictures, Stuart McBain's paying his 3 spoiled rich kids to move out of the house.
I'll give you $750 each.
I don't think we're really ready to live on our own yet.
Think of it as just a little survival test.
But when the money runs out, panic sets in.
I want to come home!
Now they'll have to toil, sweat, and do the unthinkable.
You mean get a job?
To make it on their own.
This is America. Don't we have rights? Not without money, you don't.
Where the Heart Is, a John Borman film, rated R.
Starts Friday at a theater near you. Right now, you will never need to shop anywhere else but S&K Toyota. Here's why. Other Toyota dealers advertise prices that are for one vehicle only and are disclaimed by a serial number. S&K's prices aren't just for one vehicle or misleading. For example, S&K has 11 of these two-wheel drive trucks, all on sale for $69.88. 13 of these Tercels on sale for $59.88. 11 of these Corollas on sale for $79.88. And 12 of these Camrys, all on sale for $99.88. S&K Toyota on Mission Boulevard in Hayward.
Question. Which face pad has stronger medicine than OxyPad?
Strider.
Clearasil.
Wrong. Nobody has stronger medicine than OxyPad.
There goes our ride home.
How Alvin Perkinson eats a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
I divide my Reese's into 4 equal portions. I have the proper tools, you see. That way my taste experience is quadrupled. Yum, 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 and...
There's no wrong way to eat a Reese's.
And Kids Town, too. A whole new Kids Club just for you. We've got more.
Contest, discount, prizes.
And a brand new magazine, too. To get your free membership card, here's all you have to do. Send a postcard with your name, address, and birth date to Kids Town Fox Club. P.O. Box 2 9221. Oakland 94623. Fox Kids Club from Kids Town.
Que lamentablemente también están sintiendo las réplicas de este